The property located at Avenue C and Avenue E, the city is going to continue to pursue efforts and discussions about a possible exchange, lease, value, or purchase of the real property interest as listed in the agenda item. And then regarding the evaluation of the city manager, just very quickly and deliberately, we feel like overall as council that Mr. Parsons has done an outstanding job for the last year. And we spent time reviewing that with him. So that's pretty much it. We'll move on to item 7, which is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'm just gonna say in those minutes that it lists some people here that weren't here. So I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Do you wish to pull that item? Do you need to pull that item then from the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Let us know which one you want to remove. Yes.
All right. So regarding the city council minutes, where are the?
I think the attorneys weren't here and like Peggy and I don't remember the fire chief and assistant chief. I just didn't pull.
Oh,
them.
staff present. Yeah. Hilmy wasn't here.
Ray was here, right? Ray and Colleen was here. Doug wasn't.
Darla wasn't.
Just things like that. I didn't know.
Okay, well, we'll
Yeah.
have to approve the minutes with the corrections that removing which item. So is there any,
So
do we
Darla
need to?
wasn't.
Fire chiefs,
Yeah.
library director. Yeah, this must be just an old.
Mike Morris. Steve Hilmy.
Public Works, Doug Turner. Rob Phillips. Yeah, there's a whole bunch on there. It's just like it's kind of like a list of everybody.
It's a list of everybody, but everybody
everybody.
wasn't here.
I can correct it though.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections of the actual staff that were present and Francesca can review YouTube if she has any questions about verifying who was and who wasn't here.
Yeah, she can look back and see.
Okay,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the March minutes with the corrections of the staff that was not present.
I'll second.
all right. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Winton,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, okay. Item 8, we'll move on to items of consideration. B, resolution approving an early extension of the solid waste collection and disposal contract between the city of Port Aransas, Texas. Excuse me. And I think this should say Republic Services.
It's a lot, Mayor. It's a lot.
For an additional 5 years, beginning January 1st, 2026, and modifying the brush and bulky collection schedule, deletion of the CPI increases for the 2024 calendar year, and authorizing the city manager to sign said documents. Hello,
Good evening.
welcome,
Mayor.
Mike.
Council members, staff, visitors. Thank you for this opportunity. Good to see everybody. I know Sandfest is upon us. I've got a lot of phone calls about that, so we may be present as well. Always good to do that. As mentioned to Mr. Parsons, of late on our CPI letter contractually, y'all should all have received this a while back. Staff received it, but as part of our normal contract, we have the CPI adjustment that's part of this. It's every year in March as the anniversary. This particular CPI pulled a 4.6% on the water sewer trash index. And which is a little higher than normal in most years with water sewer. We don't know when it's going to go down. It can continue to go up for some time. Wish we could predict that. In any event, we have an opportunity here. We are about a year and a half out from our current contract term expiring. And I wanted to present this to you tonight for consideration. We have an opportunity here to look at making the contract service menu more ideal for us and for your citizens and businesses. So our ask is the following. We are asking for a 5-year early extension of services now. We want to add a new commercial truck and driver because your businesses continue to thrive and boom. In order for us to keep the service levels where they need to be and make sure that they get adequate service and timely. It's at that point now, and we kind of mentioned this the last time I was here, that continues to grow. But not only that is your residential. So when you look at Cinnamon Shores South and all the other areas of growth within the city, it's just tremendous. It's very aggressive. And I would love to say that all the streets are wide enough for our drivers, but they're not. And so we're having to make some challenging moves there and work with everyone. Your staff has been phenomenal. From Lawrence through city manager's office. So our supervisors have constant communication. We've been able to work through some of the subcontractor challenges and easements on streets on certain days on service. But here's the reality. One of the things we could do minimize would be the brush and bulky collection. You're the only contract I have in South Texas out of 22 that has weekly set out opportunity. And when you look at that, I would say, you know what? Why change it? But when we're looking at all things I mentioned, trying to maneuver through the streets, the wear and tear on the streets with those big trucks. If the demand is there and your people need that weekly, okay, we can continue that way. But I pulled the numbers on how much we're grabbing. And it's the lowest percentage out of all my cities. Most people do not take advantage of it weekly. When you think about it, what is the norm, Mike? It's in most of my cities, it's quarterly or biannually. So what we're asking is not to go the extreme of quarterly. That's a big leap from weekly to quarterly. Why don't we come in with every other month? 6 collections a year. It keeps those trucks off the street so we can only focus on the trash and the recycle. Because remember, you still have 2 types of trucks in residential, and then you have the commercial trucks. So I'm sure, bless you, I'm sure that the contractor would appreciate that as well. And if you've ever gotten calls from your residents or constituents, hey, I got missed, or I couldn't get my card out in time because of what's going on with the development of the construction, everything weighs in on that, okay? So if you ask me, well, Mike, what are we picking up? In 2022, we picked up 65 tons of bulk in 1 year. 65 tons total. 2023, it jumped to 190. Don't know what happened there, just happened. Year to date, we're at 50 tons. But here's the more alarming part. The brush, we're only averaging 2 loads of brush per month going to your site over here outside the city. When you compare that to say Portland or other cities similar to your size, it's just a fraction of what we're pulling out of those cities. I said, okay. Going back to the ask, if we do a 5-year early extension, we're going to add a commercial truck. We want to go to every other month, brush and bulky yard waste. We'll call it yard waste to keep it simple. If you allow that and approve that, we would waive 1 year, this year, the residential increase that's supposed to be in place now. So we would save your constituents and lock in their rates for 1 year. And with everything going up around us and continually doing this, it's not a bad ask. We enjoy being a partner with your city in many different areas. We have really good drivers. By the way, we've had to up their wages, as you can imagine, to keep them and keep them motivated. We've been safe. We've been consistent. We do drop the ball, but we pick it up with a sense of urgency. That's my ask, and I'll open it up for questions if you have any.
So you're having trucks come over here that aren't picking up anything and going back.
It's
So,
very minimal demand.
yeah,
Every week, every Monday, Tuesday, they're in town on your streets. Yes, ma'am.
seems like a big waste.
So our,
That's what they did.
I know, but still.
Our price would be locked in for the year, and then even though the contract extension is for another 5 years, when would we negotiate that price?
So that price would kick in with your normal CPI, which is on the water sewer,
Right.
effective March of 25.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So almost all year.
The additional truck and driver, how much more do you think that is it?
Uh,
I mean, we're not obviously going up any days on residential service or anything like that, but I mean, it's just gonna help with the pressure
Well, just to give you an idea, a brand new commercial front load truck of the caliber that we have with the technology and the standards and all that, it's gonna run around $350,000. And that's our price.
Plus your driver.
Plus the
Also
driver,
driver.
payroll
salary,
benefits, taxes, wages, fuel, maintenance. So we're looking
And-
probably over $500,000 investment.
And you're keeping us at twice a week, right?
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
not gonna try to
Twice a-
change that?
Thank you for bringing that up. Twice a week trash.
That's the other
Every other week
benefit that we
recycle.
get,
Yes,
that
Right.
most communities don't.
yes.
They only get once a week and we still get twice a week.
Yeah.
And I think based upon your culture here and tourism and flow,
We need,
you need that.
We do. Yes. Well, I think the wear and tear on the roads and not having you come every week, the big trucks, I think that's a nice,
Well, those grapple
Wait.
trucks, if you've ever watched them, they have to stabilize with those legs at every stop. So it's a go pressure on
Right.
your streets. So they're not only just
Pushing
stopping with
down.
air brakes, but they're stabilizing with those legs to get out and have to grab with that boom
right,
and pull all that debris. It's not done manually. It's done with the truck and the driver.
yeah.
So.
No, I think that's a good.
I mean, I think that every other month would be a hard thing. I mean, I have a hard time remembering when I got to put my recycle out, and that's every 2 weeks. I can't imagine, is this the month that I gotta put that out? I can't even imagine that even being feasible. In my opinion.
For the brush, how often do you have brush? I guess, yeah,
What,
that's something,
just to
yeah,
know, I'm like, okay, I got a
Right.
pile of brush, do I hold it for 2 months or do I hold it for a week or 3 days, just, I don't know.
Valid point. We will help with a service calendar that can identify when those collection weeks would be of the every other month we're discussing. Work with staff, add it to the website. We gotta do some type of mail out, or social media blast, local newspaper. We can definitely help with that. You're right. You'll get gripes for about 2 weeks. It's just gonna die off. This happens in all the cities. Anytime you do a change, let's face it, change is hard. It is tough, but if you know when you can set it out, most people can plan for that. The problem is, this is the reality. You have weekly now. So a few people will take advantage of that. If you have monthly, quarterly, doesn't matter what you have, people will always take advantage of that set out opportunity. And if you had a lot of folks doing that, we probably wouldn't have this conversation, but you don't. And that's why I think that the opportunity is there. So.
Mike, if you're willing to go to, I mean, obviously not willing, but you're wanting to go down to 6 months, this time of year or, certain times of year, because we're not a heavily treed community that has a bunch of brush, right? Are there months that would be better? I mean, I guess to Councilmember Owen's point, I mean, it is going to be hard for us to remember, when to come, when not to come, but is it better to say,
Mhm.
only come in certain times of year where there's typically more trimming and more? Or does that even matter?
No, it's in this area, everybody wants to put out, spring is always gonna be heavy. You look at Rockport in certain cities where they have the live oaks. Spring is worse on leaves than it is in the fall, so that's a big collection in that area. For here, a lot of palm fronds, small vegetation, maybe some smaller trees and whatnot. But for the most part, it's gonna be bulk heavier than the brush in Port A. And how many people are being evicted? Probably not a lot. How many people are buying new couches and TVs and sofas and furniture every single week? Not necessarily, unless they're renovating and things like that. But usually people will remove things they bring into their home their own way. But you have the benefit of putting on the curb now. The difference is, do you need the weekly? Bless you. Do you need the weekly? The demand is not there. Okay. So to answer your question, though, if you said, Mike, we want to consider the following months, I can negotiate with David and we could come up with that if that was the case, if you approve this. So we know in advance that every year and those collections will be March, April, or March, June, et cetera, so where it's staggered, but it's set in stone. By the time we get through one of those cycles, people will get the memo. People will see what they're putting in.
So currently you're bringing those brush and bulk trucks twice a week.
Every Monday and Tuesday and some Wednesdays we're coming in.
Okay, so 104 trips with the big truck, and now your thought is to put it down to just 6 trips a year?
If the demand is there, we don't want to come pick up air.
No, I understand. I'm just going 104 trips to 6. That's,
And you said
That's
most
a
other
lot.
cities are 6
Yeah.
trips or 2 trips.
Quarterly, and some even do biannual. Corpus Christi does biannual, just twice a year.
Wow.
They used to be quarterly. They moved it to just that. We would never recommend that here.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, I'll give an example, something I caught about a month ago. I'm going down one of your streets and looking at what the drivers are having to deal with. And a lot of these contractors are trying to associate their material from the project with the bulk
Oh.
set,
Mhm.
which they shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And
Right.
so some of what we picked up, because if it's buried in with normal debris that would come from the home, we're not gonna see that until it gets over to where it's going. And so how much of that has happened, I can't give you a percentage, but you probably know yourselves and can assume it happens quite a bit. So this would also help eliminate. it. They pay for a permit, they go through your building department, they have roll-off containers, that's what should happen here. But the confusion is if they can save a few bucks and go, hey, I'll put it over Republic, it could happen. So.
Okay, well, you have an alternative suggestion? Or ask? I mean, I do think it probably to Councilmember Christensen's point, it feels like a big change and it is a big change, but I do think there are some things in the contract that you're giving on, not number one, delaying the price increase for a year.
Yes,
And I don't know how that equates to dollars for dollars, but number two, I don't want you to take away the twice a week pickup. And that's my biggest fear for
Right,
this
right.
community is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
I could,
That's way more
the
important.
brush can be once a year for all I care.
right.
Right.
But taking away twice a week pickup is what scares me the most.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
If that's our,
Would
yeah.
it be a deal breaker to
negotiation.
do once every month? Just for,
You know, I was prepared for some of you or a few of you to have these types of questions. And so I did my homework before I got here to make sure I had everything in the toolbox that I could come back with on the spot. So if you're not comfortable, our preference is what I've asked.
Sure.
Okay. If the default for y'all to feel comfortable would be, let's do monthly for now. Then maybe we'll meet you halfway and we'll just honor half of the CPI this year instead of the full waiving it for residential to go to monthly brush and bulk, if that would be more ideal. But I still think that at the end of the day, if I come back in 3 months and we've done the every other month and we've been through 2 of those cycles and I ask for your feedback, I think we'll be fine. That's just my opinion and I'm talking to my drivers.
I'd rather train the citizens to trim their yards every other month.
then give up the CPI
Yeah.
for 6
I
months
would
pickup.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a,
I mean, I mean,
yeah.
to me, the ability of knocking down a couple of your palm fronds and throwing them out on your curb and expecting them to be picked up weekly, it's just so much of a luxury. It's,
Has that been going on since the hurricane or have we done that for a long time?
So that's a great point. So back in 2018, right after, if you looked at the numbers back then, everyone was trying to get just stuff removed, as we know. So when we were given the green light to come back in after your remediation company, right? The storm debris removal company, that was a big, I know. The bulk was the main priority. Let's get it out, let's get it out, let's get it out. So it was heavy on us to do that. So back then it might have justified weekly. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Oh, yeah.
And fast forward where we are now. I
It's not
think the
there.
point
It's-
has changed completely. Because of it.
And we
Agree.
have the option, I mean, we just can go right to our dump and take any of the brush and everything.
Free.
Well, that's what I'm
I mean,
thinking.
yeah,
That's what I
free.
do with mine
There's a lot
anyway.
of
I've
people
never
don't have
used y'all
that
services
luxury.
for
Yeah.
brush and stuff. I take it to the dump.
This one opens,
I trim and I'm.
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Me
I don't
too.
like it sitting, so,
Me too.
okay.
you
Yeah.
brought up a good point, if I may, and a lot of folks may not know this, but I always try to tell people in my cities, when it comes to bulk and yard waste brush, if it's small enough and manageable enough to go in your cart, your waste cart, put it in there.
Mhm.
Some
I've done
folks
that
don't think
too.
they can put
From that.
grass clippings or leaves or palm fronds in their waste
Do.
cart. You can't.
Okay,
So if we drive the big truck by and you see something the size of where I'm at right here, please put that in the trash cart. That avoids this unnecessarily weekly pickup.
Mhm.
So
well, if we can save our citizens some money, at least for a year, and still have our 2 a week trash, then.
none of that would change.
Okay,
No, it's not saving money, it's keeping it at the same price.
well, that's saving to me. Everything else has gone up, so.
And oftentimes, that's a good valid point too. Why wouldn't the price go down a little bit? You realize the bulk of your monthly expense is the trash. And then the recycle adds on to that as well. Okay. The bulk in the brush, it's a piece of it, but it's not the large percentage of it. So in our CPI format, we found in the last 2 years that even at 3, 4, 5%, we're not outpacing the CPI escalator we have in our contracts because our costs continue to go up. Labor is one of the highest. Fuel's been relative. Tires, truck repairs. maintenance.
Insurance.
So we might be at 6 or 7%, but because we have a long-term contract with each city, we're gonna honor those obviously. And so because we do spread those costs out, it does help collectively. But the CPI really doesn't cover all those costs. So just so you know. So. Good fair point.
But if we're saving 98 trips a year over a 5-year period, shouldn't our CPI, will that pull down some of our fees? Because you're not paying for that at all.
That's
you
where
just
the
think-
waiving of the.
Just for
residential-
1 year.
Correct. Once again, if people want to use that, let's keep it at. Right. But the demand.
But
is-
it's not
Correct.
there.
Right.
So if every other month doesn't work and then we need it monthly, are you able to come back and do it monthly if we need it?
I can receive an email or phone call every single year to discuss any part of our services. We want to amend something. Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to see couches sitting out on the street for a month.
I agree.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the early extension of the solid waste for public services. Collection and disposal contract between the city of Port Aransas, Texas and BFI Waste Services of Texas, LP for an additional 5 years, beginning January 1, 2026. Modifying the brush and bulky collection schedule, deletion of the CPI increase for the 2024 calendar year, and authorizing the city manager to sign said document.
I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One quick on the resolution. Section 3, the term, I believe it's a 5-year term, should begin January 1, 2026 and continue through December 31st, 2030, correct? Not 31.
5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's 30.
Yep.
31, you right?
No, 31.
It's 31's good.
That's a 5-year term, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30.
At the end of.
31, December 31, 31, 6 years.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right. It's 2030.
So it's beginning January 26, right? 27, 28, 29, 30, 31.
31.
Begins the beginning of
26, 27, 28, 29.
It would be 31. if it
Contract
was-
years are confusing.
It would be 31 if it was January 1st.
Yes.
2031, but it's December 31st, so it'd be 2030, correct. David is
Day of the
correct.
year.
Just for the record, I did not put 31 on my offer to Mr. Pratt.
Okay.
Okay,
So he did.
but we'll take the
Okay.
extra year.
We'll approve.
But-
Hey,
So
that's right.
with that,
So to, with my motion, 5 years, January 1, 2026 to December 31st, 2030.
All right, that's a correction to the motion,
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
which is seconded.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you, Mike.
Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you.
My drivers will be very happy.
Yeah.
All right. You all have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
All right, item C, entering into an interlocal agreement with the Nueces County Water Control and Improvement District Number 4 for the construction of a water and sanitary sewers improvements in connection with the proposed recreation center, authorizing reimbursement of the funds, approving terms and conditions, and authorizing the city manager to sign all documents in said agreement.
So this, yeah, so this item, so it kind of ties in, or Google Earth,
Oh, yeah.
or is it already on here somewhere? Maybe I didn't log in. 7:10. Oh, I should be quiet. Okay, so this ties in with this, the couple different projects. It's the street and drainage bond. And it ties in with water district improvements going on around town in various locations, and it ties into the rec center. So what we did was in our preliminary civil work for the rec center at the community park, we discovered that there's no water and sewer that fronts this area right here, excuse me. This area right here has no water and sewer mains. The community park, which has a very lightweight water and sewer currently in place, gets its services from Channel Vista, and the sewer comes from the Channel Vista system over here to a what is that one, Colleen? That's the the lift station, and then the restrooms in the ballpark also come over here and drain into it. So it's a very difficult system, and it is, the Channel Vista system will not be large enough for the rec center. So before we tear up and rebuild Ross Avenue, we need to get in a proper water and sewer service down Ross Avenue, get it in place so that it'll come. So currently what we'll do is we have sewer right up here at that third cul-de-sac, and we'll run it down here and we'll get it in place. And I think the water comes in similar to that. So we'll get both the water and sewer in place for the future rec center prior to the city rebuilding Ross Avenue. So that's what this is before you. So the water district has included it in their citywide water and sewer improvement contract. And so they've already bid it. They've already awarded it. So what we would be doing is saying, yes, your contractor is going to put these two features in for us, and we're going to reimburse you. So this will be a reimbursement to the water district for putting in the rec center water and sewer services. Because if you don't do it now, we're going to rebuild Ross Avenue, and then
Tear it up.
a year from now, you're going to go back and tear it up to put in your water and sewer. So we need to do it now.
Good plan. Anybody have any questions? Okay, there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item D, approving a memorandum of understanding between the city of Port Aransas and the Port Aransas Independent School District for the use of the Port Aransas ISD buses, bus driver and staff for the purpose of assisting with the city of Port Aransas after-school care and camp programming for 1 year beginning May 2024, authorizing city manager to sign said MOU. Hello, Colleen.
I just noticed the wording on that. It also includes the school facilities.
Is that not the second?
There's two in a row.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's two. The next one is for the sports complexes, but is the,
So that's different.
which one? So the facility should be in,
So facilities should be included with the camp and after school care.
okay,
And then the sports facilities is for athletics. So that is a
Okay.
different program.
Oh.
In the attachment in the MOU, it is listed.
It
there,
is, yeah, I was gonna
just
say in the
wanna
actual.
be
it-
sure
okay.
we're
But the-
clear.
yeah.
So this is for summer camp and after school care. Summer camp registration opened and it is already full. It is super popular. So
It's awesome.
it had probably 80% registration by the morning after it opened. It opened at midnight and people stayed awake until midnight to get their kids in.
Wow.
It was wild, yeah.
Will we
Super
be able
fast.
to facilitate more kids when we get the new rec center? open? Hope so.
We don't have the floor plans or official square footage or anything yet, but I think we'll look at program growth and the capacity to hold it at the rec center. That's the intention, is that we hold these programs at the rec center. So we don't have to have
No, you don't have to
shared
do
space.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
it'll be very exciting.
Yeah.
Very good. So maybe 1 year more of this
Yep.
and then party at the rec center.
No, big one. Okay.
Well, it just goes to show you how important it is to the community,
It
you know, and a
is.
big thanks for PSI,
Yeah.
PAISD for willingness to allow us to provide this.
Yeah, and they really are, they have construction going on in the kitchen this year, and so they're allowing us to still occupy the space while that's going on and all their improvements, and so they're a very generous partner and we are very appreciative of all they do.
All right, any questions on item D? Can I entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Right, item E, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the city of Port Aransas and the Port Aransas Independent School District for the use of the sports complexes maintained by PAISD and the city of Port Aransas for 1 year beginning May 2024 and authorizing city manager to sign said MOU.
This one predominantly is used for the high school baseball fields that we maintain that, but it gives us access to the tennis courts and the track as well. So there's some athletic facilities from both parties that benefit from this. So we do it every year. I'd like to continue.
Also a great partnership.
Yes.
Any questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution also.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, item F, awarding request for proposal for the Community Center Neighborhood Park to Mako Contracting LLC in the amount of $871,225. Funds from the Recreational Development Account number 225, Capital Outlay Account number 58320, authorizing the future budget amendment for fiscal year 2023-2024 budget and authorizing city manager to act as the executive officer and authorized representative in the city in all matters pertaining to said bid award.
I'm not sure how much you want me to explain,
No,
but we
go for it.
got one qualified bidder, Mako LLC. And staff's recommending that we do a deductive alternate, that we pull out the boardwalk portion of the bid. So that's $120,000 deductive alternate. The reason we're doing that is because half did not include structural engineering drawings for the pavilion and the boardwalk. And we gave them reference drawings that were incorporated. There was a misunderstanding and they used those instead of providing their own. And so we're deducting it with the understanding that half is going to provide the structural engineering of those objects, and then we can add them in as a change order afterwards at a lower cost.
Okay.
Because the boardwalk sample was from our nature preserve boardwalks, and those are built much stronger than we need for this location. So does that cover it all?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, just one bid. Usually the local engineers and architects do a little bit better effort into recruiting bidders instead of just putting it into plans rooms and letting it sit and see who shows up. So half being out of town, I just don't know what kind of effort they made
They had
getting the bid out.
a
So
list of 9 plan holders
Yeah.
when they, before the bid opening. They, 9 people requested the plans.
Yeah.
One other contractor came to the pre-bid
Mhm.
meeting that did not submit a bid.
Yeah.
So-
it takes a lot of massaging. Usually it's a lot of the engineers call back often. Hey, just making sure you guys are working on your bid. So I don't know what kind of effort was made, but only one bidder. They've built several projects for us in the past 2 years.
Mhm.
Jim, did they do the citizen collection station ramps? They did the citizen collection station ramps. They did the Paradise Pond trail system improvements. And then most recently, they did some of the bulkhead improvements out at the marina. They did build a good product. We did have problems with them with their delivery date on completion of the project. So I think on the last 2 projects, we did hit them with liquidated damages, Jim, for time delays. Yeah,
We did.
yeah, yeah. So the product wasn't that bad. It was a time issue.
Delays.
So half's estimate was 90 days, but their bid was for 120.
Yeah,
Just have to get it done.
which for them, they probably need the extra 30 days.
And if we don't award it, we're pushing it back at least another month. I would have to go out to rebid and advertise Monday, like if we're gonna not do this, so. There's no guarantee that we'll get more bidders if we do
Right.
go to rebid,
And
but it's
then
up
we're
to
another
you,
month out.
you know, and
yeah.
what you feel comfortable with.
That bid was originally for just over 871K, so we'd be backing out 120K of that for removal of the boardwalk.
Yeah, and then we would come back with a cheaper product.
Correct,
Yeah.
which would be roughly around just 751,000. If we prove it, do we need to state that?
Well, it's on here, right? To-
You'd want to
With the
approve it with
deducted-
the changed
Yeah.
total.
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Right, do we need that?
The
price?
total's not
What
in there.
No,
You
what
can
did
s-
you say the price was removing?
It'd be $750,265 if you remove that.
752.
260.
Just the one item calling.
Okay.
You're only looking for the boardwalk, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So we
And
can
then when they come back with an alternative boardwalk,
Okay.
then you'll come back in for a change order.
remove that. Okay.
Yeah, if
Because-
it's over the 50.
Because it'll be over
grand
the
mark, yeah.
50, I'm sure.
If it is, maybe it's not. We don't know yet.
All right,
All right.
do I have a motion?
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to the award the RFP for the community center neighborhood park to Mako Contracting in the amount of $750,265.
I'll
Say it right, Darrell.
Did I say it right? Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Tim Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
All right, item G, approving change order number 2 for the 2023 street and drainage bond project awarded to Anderson Columbia Company, Inc. in the total amount of $408,844.23, authorizing future budget amendments for the fiscal year 2023-24 budget and authorizing the city manager to sign all documents associated with said change order.
Good evening. I'm here to tell you a little bit about this change order. It looks pretty complicated, but in general terms, I'll remind you that we bid this with the bond project, and when it came in, it was over the budget. We did change order number 1 and pulled the additive alternate, which was Oleander, out of the bid, as well as reduce some of the miscellaneous pothole miscellaneous pothole repairs that were not specifically defined. I'll back up even a little further. We identified during all the FEMA projects about $2 million worth of potholes and repairs. And we put about $500,000 into the bid as originally. Came in over the budget, so we pulled that undefined area and Oleander out to get the job going. Since that time, we've done several streets, and in some cases, we have a little more base. In a lot of cases, we have a lot less, so we've saved some money. We also have, in projects just like the one y'all approved earlier with the Water District, we have jobs where we do the work and the Water District actually has work that we put in there. That kind of work that we had in this project for the Water District's line extensions and the rest, since they had a job being bid, we went ahead and pulled it out of this job and put it in that. So that saved some money in here. So this change order number 2 adds Oleander Street, that's the area behind American Bank, back in. We did get an easement from the property owner there. It adds not 500, but about $300,000 worth of additional miscellaneous pavement repair back into the job. And with the credits that we got from the work we've done so far, plus the Water District coming out, the change order is actually, change order number 2 is only $408,000. So we took $1 million out and now we're adding 408 back. And we got Oleander back in and we got 350,000 of the 500 back in. The difference really is Water District's work being pulled out, and we've had some savings on some of the projects where we went in and exposed the base and didn't have to do as much repair to the base as we thought. So I've been working with the contractor on that. So we get this change order done. I think Henderson Columbia will be moving back in after they moved out when we had spring break, and they'll be moving back in probably next week to start continuing on. But you saw some of the work on Alistair. We're not totally done, and saw some of the work around on some of the streets around the community center. But we'll be finishing that up. They've been doing a great job working with them. So if I can get y'all's approval, we'll do change order number 2 to add 400. And I will mention that before I put this together, I got together with David and Darla to find out how much additional funds. We've had some street repair funds and some other things. That's where we got the $400,000. So we kind of put as much as we can back into this. Although I think you just said you found 170.
Yeah, there's a little bit more. There's some, we just got a new chunk of RTA money last month for,
We may come back to you to add again,
yeah.
but I already had this change order done when we found 178.
how much was it?
Well, I had, so 6.5 million from the bonds, 562,907 from RTA. And then we're applying city funds from the street maintenance
Yep,
fund
yep.
for 700,000, gave us a total of 7.7.
Right,
And so we,
Had a few that were hot eligible, JC Bar, Charlie Pasture.
right.
and
right.
you also, what isn't coming in there is you have soft costs of
Yeah.
engineering testing and other things. that are
Which
in
I put
there.
that in.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, point is we've got way more street repair than we probably got funds to do. So we'll continue to come back to you as we find funds through other things to go in and see if we can get that done while we got a contractor in here.
With this, I still have about 450,000.
Okay,
Any questions?
everybody understand? Any
Yeah.
questions? Okay. And do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve change order number 2 for the 2003 street drainage bond project awarded to Anderson Columbia Inc. in a total amount of 408,844.23, authorizing future budget amendments to the 2023-24 budget. Authorizing city manager to sign all documents as such.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitman,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Jim.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, item H is discussion on rules and regulations related to boat ramp and ramp area dock usage in the municipal harbor. Okay. There are two people signed up to speak regarding this. Do the two of you wish to speak now? Your 3 minutes? Chris Bell and Amy Laurel. All right, you state your name and give us your address, and you have 3 minutes, sir. Welcome.
Hi, Chris Bell. My address is in Utah,
Okay,
so I'm a winter Texan here for 6 months. And many friends come down here with me to boat. We boat all winter long, we fish all winter long. We made approximately 45 to 50 trips this year out of your harbor here. And I've run into a couple situations, primarily with some jet ski rentals that come in and they don't pay any attention to the vessel size, and it's larger the vessel is, you yield to them. They don't understand those rules at all. And multiple guides that take people out on fishing trips park in the docks that we're supposed to use. And they're in excess of 20 minutes. They're supposed to be allowed 20 minutes, which is pretty ridiculous. I'm in and out of there on a clear day in 30 to 40 seconds. When we drop one guy off and we're out, they come in and park their boats there and wait for their passengers to show up. And it causes, I've given up trying to fish on the weekend because that's when it seems like most of their trips are. And it almost makes, I'm sitting out there floating around for 30, 40 minutes trying to find a spot to pull my boat into, just to drop one guy off to go get my truck. So I understand that there is a ordinance where they're not supposed to be using those docks, and I'm just here to ask that get enforced. That's about it. I house my boat here all year. I mean, we pay a lot of money in taxes here in 6 months, as you can imagine. So
okay.
that's about it. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You bet.
We
Thank
can't
you.
respond to your citizen
Oh, I
comments, so
understand
I didn't want you to
I
think, it,
understand.
but thank you for your time.
You bet.
All right, Amy Laurel, you are next, ma'am.
Sorry, I had run out computer.
Okay, name, address in 3 minutes. You got it.
Amy Laurel, 245 Pleasant Valley, Port A. So, spectacles, have to have those. Thank y'all for allowing me to be here. I would like y'all to know, and everybody else, that this entire issue and question and everything, it was not created by me or my husband. We actually told the person who came to us and started all of this inquiry 3 years ago that we didn't want to be involved. Because honestly, we don't believe that anybody should be prevented from launching their boat or fishing anywhere. That's not the concern, though, regarding the ordinance. I'm only here speaking to you tonight because I was asked to be a voice for those who don't like speaking in public. It's the general consensus of all who have asked me to speak that we ask you guys to enforce the current ordinance as it's written to hopefully eliminate the congestion in the marina docks. Those who wish to pick up charter passengers are welcome to pick up clients at local businesses and leave the city-owned docks to our island home guests who bring their own boats. Since I've now been brought into this, I would like to also voice my support as well that you guys enforce the ordinance as it's written and passed. But again, I honestly don't believe that anybody should be prevented from fishing or boating or being here. In closing, I want to reiterate We don't want anybody kicked out of the marina or not allowed to fish or pick up clients here. Enforcing the current ordinance as it's written is imperative to alleviate the growing pains that we're currently facing at the marina, to keep everybody safe and happy and make sure that our economy is also supported by all those involved. As a fishing community, we do have an abundance of guests coming here who want to fish. Nobody I've spoken with cares where you're from, where you fish, or how you want to enjoy the waters of Port A, whether it's fishing or pleasure boating. Just launch, pick up quickly, allow everyone the same chance to enjoy, which is the win-win. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Okay. All right. Well,
Well, I guess that's what it is. They don't have a problem with the ordinance, the 20 minutes. And I guess the other guys, if they were waiting on their customers, they could actually go to Fisherman's Wharf, or they can't go to yours, right? So, I mean, but Fisherman's Wharf, that's what they do all morning long. Everybody picks up their clients over there or whatever. So usually everybody's boat's ready. They put in, they go tie it, they put it over there so they can go put their truck up and then get in and go. So they asked me if I'd put it on the agenda. I said yes. And I guess they wanted to make sure that everybody understands that they don't have a problem with the 20-minute ordinance to pick up. So I don't know how anybody else feels about it, or
Well, I think when we talked about it last month, we were all in agreement that stick with the plan that we have in place, the 20 minutes. Obviously, our local guides don't have a problem, but I think it's the out of town guides that are coming and planting themselves there and causing the problem. Seems to be that kind of the census there. So I know that I know some of them got ticketed. They weren't happy about it, but
well, wasn't that because they left their boat a long time to go eat
Yeah,
lunch or something?
they broke the rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Any
think we
guides
need
out
to-
there want to chime in? or-
Anybody?
They're all shaking their heads. I think,
It doesn't take 20 minutes to launch a boat.
thank you.
I get picked up at Fisherman's Wharf every time we go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never been picked up.
Who do we have down there
But I
at the
just-
harbor to enforce? the
Well,
code?
you gotta remember, so this rule is, let's compare it to speeding. Right? The police enforce speeding. You know, we don't, every police officer isn't just sitting around looking for speeders,
Right.
but they maybe stake out the highway when maybe a week has gone by and all of a sudden the speeding's starting to pick up, and they use it as a tool. They go out and sit on the highway and maybe they give a speeding ticket. The 20-minute ramp issue is the same way. I've instructed the police and the harbor to same thing, use it as a tool. When it's busy on a weekend at lunch, maybe you put and you think people are violating it, you pull down, you show a presence, people start speeding up a little bit. But you know, I don't want harbor or the police parking out at the ramps on a Tuesday
Yeah.
morning when they have a ton of work to do. So it's just like a cop with speeding. They're gonna use
They
it as
get
a
caught.
tool when they think they need to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna just sit down there and, we don't have the money to pay someone to just stand there and enforce the 20-minute. When they can show up when it's bad, and the second they pull up, people are gonna go, "Ooh, time to get moving." Or so that's the goal, is to,
Sure. The only thing that worries
we
me,
know when the hot spots will be, and we just have to show a presence.
if somebody gets 30 more jet skis, I mean, that's gonna be chaos.
Could be chaos.
Yeah. Kind of scary.
Yeah.
well, I think if that's the case and that happens, and I'm certain that there are a lot of people in this audience and people that
Then
probably
the
aren't
tool
here,
gets used more.
that will make
Yeah.
it very well known that it's a problem. And we're all down there enough too, to recognize that. I mean, I don't think any of these things that have been happening are new. I appreciate the fact that we're stepping up the effort so that people know that we mean business and the rule needs to be there. And
Right.
so, I think, it sounds like from last month we talked about it and probably again today that council agrees, we just need to have the rules enforced.
That's
And
it.
if it continues to be a problem and 20 minutes is too long, then maybe we come back and revisit. Maybe that needs to be a different time. Or maybe is another rule that we can make up. But in the meantime, we just need to continue to let those people know who are causing some issues that they need to play by the rules because everyone else seems to not have a problem doing that. So
That's right. All good? Okay.
is there anything, I mean, is there any other things that y'all would like to see changed or you think that need to be changed?
Ban the jet ski. Sorry.
They just want to have their chance to speak.
Yep.
and-
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no, sure.
Right, no,
I think the current ordinance is good. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
what we got in place is
Yep.
just basically
Just
I agree
enforcing
at
it
times,
and-
just not being out there all the time, but during the busy times, we all local here, we know when it's gonna be.
Right.
And Joe Ellen had asked me to, was there any specific rules that applied with the Parks and Wildlife grant from what was it, 1988? I
something
think.
like that.
So
I think it's
the
what they
only
said.
rule I found about the Parks and Wildlife giving the city the grant monies was that the city is never allowed to deny a boat with a Texas Parks and Wildlife, state sticker, deny them the right to use the ramp, which we don't do.
Right.
So we've,
Yeah.
but that was the only stipulation in the grant that we got, 50 years ago. 40 years ago.
It's in the 80s anyway. So, yeah, that's what I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if they owned it still. I didn't.
No,
know
we
if
owned it. So
transferred.
it transferred to the city once we took over maintenance, which I think happened pretty quick.
Okay.
So the only thing that I could see that may come up. I mean, one thing we need to get our striping back, so everybody knows where they park their
Yeah,
boat trailers. But there may be a parking issue at some point. I mean, if they're bringing in all these jet skis, that's a lot of cars parking there.
Yeah.
And the people with the boat and the trailer should have first priority in parking spaces.
Well,
We may have to address that at some point.
I think we need to go back and enforce the rules
At least
that
get it striped.
that's not a commercial business parking lot.
Mhm. Yes,
there
that's,
So if
They
that's
pick
going
up
to be a
point.
problem, then that's a whole different
Yes.
issue.
Yeah,
yes.
but we are gonna get it swept and striped before
Yeah.
Memorial Day, so.
And.
yeah.
Needs it. Because they do take up that
Yeah.
whole end down there almost all day, on the weekends.
Right.
Okay.
Any other thoughts? No? Okay, so no change, just keep enforcing the rules. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item I.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Item I, resolution approving professional services agreement with Turner Ramirez Architects and total amount of $984,450 for the Port Aransas City Hall and Civic Center expansion, authorizing additional funding in the amount of $11,375 for the supplemental services for commissioning services and topographic survey for a total not to exceed $996,825 and authorizing city manager to sign all documents associated with said agreement.
So, and I don't know what year this was, but Michael might know, but I think it was about 2019, maybe the city approved 3 architects for our FEMA recovery, and it was Emily Rosenpaul, Janak and Associates, and Turner Ramirez. However, the City Hall expansion is not a FEMA recovery project, so we have to hire them individually again. So even though they have started design, Darla pointed out that, David, they are not under the FEMA hired architect that the city hired, the council chose back in 2019. So we had to bring this to you to do it individually.
Anybody have any questions regarding?
And it is a
Contract.
standard AIA document, which we use every time for architects.
Well, I'm for one excited to see this project move.
Yeah,
forward.
me too.
Yeah,
Long time
Well,
ago.
you guys are in desperate need of new space
Yeah.
and this space
Yeah,
and civic
it's
civic
gonna be
center
great.
and yeah.
It's gonna
it'll
be a great
when it
addition.
gets done.
Very good.
Okay, any questions? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for City Hall Civic Center expansion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christian,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen.
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right. Okay, item J, discuss and take appropriate action to confirm that BFDP 23001088 is consistent with the city's coastal management plan. Applicant is providing supplemental information on an additional impact that occurred during the construction of a previously approved walkover existing BFDP 200976. Applicant is Bill Ott, BDD Commercial, property location 5497 Highway 361.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So this I will refer to as the dune permit from hell because it's one that just keeps on giving. So this was approved in through the normal processes. And in the simplest terms, the contractor colored outside the lines. The original dune permit documents really had too narrow of a construction corridor. The impacts during the construction were always intended to be temporary. So the contractor explained, and we tended to believe them, that since everything was going to be temporary anyway, they didn't really see that was the big problem. Obviously, the GLO doesn't take that same approach. The GLO found it a huge problem. And on top of that, we were approaching the end of the 3-year time frame that was issued for the original dune permit. So we had argued that we were going to go ahead and extend the permit, which is our normal process, 2 90-day extensions. GLO said, "Oh no, this is such an egregious violation of the original dune permit. We're not going to consider it an extension. You got to do a whole new one." I was pretty passionate that it merited an extension, but for the sake of compromise, we gathered the supplemental documents and told the GLO we were going to treat this for all practical purposes as a new dune permit. Went back and forth. The GLO had comments. In the meantime, several of the GLO people that were involved left or were promoted, thus bringing on new people that we had to bring up to speed. Fast forward, long story short, we got a lot of the supplemental information from the contractor and their environmental engineer that they did have on staff. And so they went back, the GLO on some of the supplemental documents and some of the pictures didn't agree that what had been restored was exactly approximated what it should have been originally. And we end up where we are now with a new dune permit that basically has all the contents of the original one, plus the supplemental documents that did identify the areas that Dave has outlined there that was outside of that. And went back to P&Z with their approval, brought it to you. The GLO's only comment is that they want this mitigation, this additional mitigation restored within a very short time frame, 3 months, which we've made the contractors aware of the requirement. I don't think there's any big arguments about them knowing that they have to get it done. So what really should have been a very simple permit a couple of years ago has just gone on and on and on. But I think the final reconciliation is that they're going to have 3 months to restore the area that was a temporary impact, which really we're talking about the vegetation because of critical dunes and some possible additional material to approximate what the GLO feels those modest dune impacts were originally. I don't know if that makes any sense what I just rambled. But
So in other words, their construction zone was too big.
yeah,
Yes.
and
Their footprint.
and so they've gone
That's a
back.
huge thing out there. Is that just a walk over to Grand Caribbean? Is this another or does that go to the houses back there? Or is that to Grand Caribbean?
This is for the development, the little cottages that you see
Okay.
there.
Yeah, because they're separate and, you know, they're separated.
Right. You approved last month, a repair of the Grand Caribbean walk over that end
Right.
that had sunk. But this is
I
a
have
different
seen
one.
that. That's huge.
They're separate developments.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So I could, you know, because it said Grand Caribbean, I was just wondering, but
mitigate, where are they gonna get the fill?
Well, it's really just the vegetation and that's up to them. They've got a couple of thoughts about where they're gonna bring in the vegetation. Nicole and I talked about that.
yes.
In some instances, you know, they might have been able to do a mulch and something else, but I think the GLO is gonna hold them to bringing in some vegetation, but again, that's on them. If should you choose to approve this, which I will recommend you do, then like I said, they've got 3 months to figure it out, you know, or suffer the wrath of the GLO.
So
It's really what hasn't revegetated is a relatively small amount. It just boggles my mind when I drive down the Island Road and see that they burned hundreds of acres to the sand, and yet they have just been so relentless on this. Not that they're wrong. It's just very odd to me.
Yeah, I don't see how what they did was legal.
But nonetheless, that's another issue.
Burning all the dune
oh,
vegetation.
big time.
I'm
No.
shocked.
Yeah.
I
So-
mean, there, I mean.
I mean, all that's gonna come back is sunflowers. I can't believe they burnt that dune grass down to the nub.
Like I said, they did go back, they restored it, revegetated it, not to the GLO satisfaction. And so this is basically GLO saying, and I think the short time frame, which is unusual, I think it's a precedent as far as we know, I think is just a punitive measure, you know, do it in 3 months.
So as far as, I mean, if we approve the dune permit, which allows them to go back out there and repair what they messed up, which I get and understand. What's the time frame? I mean, do you guys as well as the GLO go and do like 30-day checks to make sure it's in process?
Oh, you
Like,
can.
I mean, is that the process that you both go out there? I mean, I know,
Rest assured, GLO will.
yes, sure.
Will, you know, that
Said right
again,
here that they would.
Yeah,
that's one of those areas we've always struggled with is how we follow up with that.
right.
But in this one, I'm sure that we'll verify.
Yeah, it says 3-month deadline, the city shall provide written notification to the GLO.
Well, they're basically being told to do it, so I think we have to say yes, yeah.
Yeah, and to do it, for them to do it, you need to say
You need
yes.
to say yes, yeah. And we want them to revegetate, so.
It's amazing they went that far.
It's huge. Okay.
All right. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Adams? All right, do I entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the permit.
Right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, please, Fran, call the roll.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, item K, discuss and take appropriate action on FPLT 23000408, final plat of Laguna Isles Unit 2. Applicant is Laguna Land Development Fund LLC. The property location is 3802 Highway 361.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So Laguna Isles, David has drawn up there. Actually had a somewhat of a slow start, but it was a phased development that council approved several years back. And the initial phase is what you see there. And I think there's a few homes out there already. This next phase that they've proposed through this platting action is a relatively small part of the larger master plan that was originally approved, but it will provide connectivity subject to TxDOT approval, which has received the application, but it will provide the connectivity off of Highway 361 to the existing part that's already built. And we'll just add in these additional lots in this particular phase. There's a couple of notes here that, when the preliminary plat, when we received the preliminary plat, there was we forwarded that out to the utilities, as you guys have heard many times. AEP did not respond at all. Originally, they came back on the final plat here that showed an easement that again just goes right down there. I've highlighted it just so you can see it just right down here. It's an easement that was on the plat. So they did respond with a note that just ensured that this easement in the project engineer is here as well, but they're aware of that requirement and it's not anything that they didn't expect anyway. So AEP does want to retain that that easement. I think it's an overhead easement, isn't it? Yes, an overhead power line easement. It's pretty substantial. So obviously the should you approve this, which we'll recommend you do, you can reference that, but it's going to be a requirement anyway. Other than that, it's again a plat that, like I mentioned, is just the next phase of a development that you'll probably over the years see additional phasing, but it will provide that connectivity. We'll provide that connectivity. We did have a couple of citizens. We had a citizen come in and ask about some wetlands issues, but again, I know Nicole had some discussions with him, but at the end of the day, it's the same answer that we give, is that wetlands really are beyond our ability to delineate, nor do we have any authority over. So again, we simply let the developers be responsible for those violations, and the penalties are severe. But again, there was certainly nothing that was compelling enough that that would derail the plat that did receive approval. It is consistent with our platting action. So,
And they'll
We'll
just
let
have a
you-
left hand, a right hand turn coming out of the subdivision southbound, because there's a median blocking it. So
Right.
that's kind of a good thing, is that they won't be able to come out and shoot across traffic and go northbound. So they'll just be able to come out and go southbound.
and it should take some if in fact, well, of course, there's only 3 houses out there. But eventually, if there's any pressure with additional construction, and that'll take some of the pressure off Mustang Boulevard.
Does TxDOT allow a U-turn there? Does anyone know? Like if you're coming northbound into the city and you decide not to turn on to Mustang Boulevard, can you do a U there? You can? Oh, okay, but it's not signed.
It's not signed, no.
So I guess you could get in that and do a UE, right?
Get around that median. Any questions?
Any questions? Any questions for the engineer? Stephen, I'm assuming you're the engineer on this project? Okay. You'll have any questions for Mr. Grunwald? He's here in the audience.
I think I did mention Hanson was our reviewer. In this case, they did
Yeah.
find it consistent with our city ordinances.
Okay. Any further discussion, comments, questions?
So Dave, where Sonny's property is, that he
Yeah.
has that little cul-de-sac?
Down here, that one?
Right
Oh, is
there.
it? Okay.
Yeah, it's down there. Yeah, it's on the other side of the golf cart bridge.
Okay, so.
And this one's right here.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I was looking for. This made better.
This is an extension of Blue Heron Drive, basically.
Correct. Or it'll connect to Blue Heron.
Right. I mean,
Connect
it
to
is Blue
61.
Heron. I mean,
It
the
is.
street's Blue Heron.
Okay,
It's an extension of Blue Heron.
okay.
So those people who live on that side of Isle Moorings obviously will have access straight out the back into 361 if they don't want to
Yep. they'll be-
go into
right.
Isle Moorings down Mustang.
Oh, okay, okay. Gotcha.
Any other questions? Comments? How about a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this plat for Unit 2 with the connection to 361.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, friend, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item L, presentation and general discussion on city staff suggested options to allow for short-term rental of park-owned RV spaces in conforming RV parks.
Thank you, Mayor. So David, Nicole and I had several conversations about the options and the more we discussed it, it just really and I think you read my little cover sheet that talked about, trying to categorize them into large, medium, and small, and the problems with that. And ultimately, again, for time's sake, I'll just say, cut to the chase. We really looked at just a calculation that was just some equitable, as you determine what equitable is, formula that just regardless of the RVP size, the park size, just allowed for short-term rentals based on what we talked about and thought was the best was that based on a certain number of what they already had, a certain number of that, which would amount to a percentage in the end. And we looked at what was out there and kind of went back and listened to the discussion. And so we threw out just to start the discussion, and obviously all of the variables in this formula are up to council. But what we threw out there initially was allow one short-term rental RV for every 30 existing RV spaces, up to a maximum of 8, but with a minimum of 2. And so, like I said, that no matter how large you were, if you were a conforming RV park, then you would have at least 2, and no matter how big you were, we cap it at 8. That was, like I said, just what we threw out there for you to discuss. The only other thing is that that any of the that we'd recommend, because again, it's we've explained, as we had previously explained, several had slipped through and gotten registered without us realizing they were RVs. But we did recommend that, and there weren't many, but that any registered STR short-term rental RVs that have paid hot tax within the last 12 months be grandfathered. We just thought that was probably fair. They for the most part, but the operative part there is we didn't want people coming out there and saying, "Oh, well, I have one and I had one," because the others that we'd identified had been paying hot tax all along. So we did recommend that whatever the formula is, anybody that had been paying hotel tax, that those be grandfathered. And the only ones I can really think of are the 3 that are at Aloha Beach. So,
And how many at Aloha Beach sites?
3.
That's how many SDRs they have. How many
Correct.
slots do they have? How many?
40,
30.
36.
So that's 1 in 12.
I know that Mr. Smith has signed up to speak.
Yeah.
You want to speak now, Thomas, and then, okay, and then don't go too far, Rick.
First thing is to,
Name, address, 3 minutes, sir.
oh, sorry, Thomas Smith, 1820 South 11th. Victoria was supposed to be here. She couldn't make it, so she put me in her place, gave me a big list of stuff to say, and I'm gonna stick to 2 topics. And
We
one of
did
them
get her
is
letter.
real brief.
Yeah, we have.
We've been working with the Texas Association of Campground Owners, and they've got a big problem with trying to jumble RV and RV parks into the STR ordinances. I have a handout here that you pass out to everybody that kind of explains their point of view on it. But my main issue to be up here this evening is Aloha Beach does have, he just said 3 up, but they had 4, but my mission is just for everything to be fair. If Aloha Beach has 36 sites and they have 3 and we have 46 sites and we're only allowed 1 or 2, I don't think that's fair. I'd like for whatever they have to be the baseline to start out with. And then you could go up to the bigger parks. That way somebody doesn't have a advantage over someone else. The only reason we really would use this is we've got 2 RVs in storage. We probably never use more than 2, but we have guests that call in probably 3 times a month and say, we're going to stay at your RV park where our family's coming in town. And they don't have an RV, but they love to stay at the park. Can you give, do you have an RV you can rent? And up until now, he said, no, we can't, we can't do that. Well, they can call Aloha Beach, oh yeah, sure, you can come and stay at our park and rent one of our tiny houses and be near your family. Right now, we're kind of at a disadvantage. They've got an edge over us and they're in the same industry, a small park, and they've got a better business deal with the city than all the other parks. They're kind of, I feel like the city's kind of picking winners and losers, but hopefully we can make it all fair. And so if we could start out with whatever, Aloha Beach, I think is one of the smallest parks. And if they've got 3, have that the baseline. We'd be happy with 3. We just don't want to end up having a small park that has more of an advantage than we do. What y'all come up with bigger parks, I don't care. We don't subscribe to, we're not in the business of going out and buying RVs and tiny houses and sticking them on a lot. We rent sites. The only reason we do it is to help someone out, but RVs nowadays, you get a decent one that's gonna last, you're spending upwards up to $100,000. And if you get 10 of them, you're spending $1 million. And I don't know what the payments of that be a month, but I can guarantee you $150 a night, you're not gonna get your money back. You're gonna go bankrupt if you do that. So.
Right.
This is mainly just about accommodating our guests and, just pulling an RV out of storage for a weekend, putting it back in storage when they're gone. So it's not a big deal, but we would like to be fair as far as the number from sizes of parks. So we're all on the same page and nobody feels like somebody's got an advantage over them, so to speak. That's really all I've got to say.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
sir.
So I don't know what everyone's feeling is, but I think the first thing that we need to decide as council is, and I think we gave staff that direction, and that's why we're here, but are we still okay with still establishing the allowance of this? Whether it's 2, 3, 4, 10%, some formula, whatever, because that we need to know that we're still okay with that before they come back with a real ordinance that we may or may not approve next month, right? So I think that's the first question. Is that still based on any kind of comments you've had outside of here or thoughts you've had about it since we've discussed it the last time? Reading what staff came up with, is that still the direction that you want staff to go in proposing an ordinance next month to come back?
Yeah,
I'm not crazy about the whole idea, so I'm gonna leave it to everybody else.
Define conforming versus non-conforming. But
2 acres.
So like right now, so if you say, so in our city ordinances, a RV park shall be 2 acres. So if you're an old RV park from the 70s or 80s, before the ordinance took place in the late 90s or early 2000s, you are considered a legal, non-conforming RV park. In other words, you can legally operate, but you are non-conforming in that you don't meet the current definition of an RV park.
Not just the 2 acres, the
Yeah.
RV lot
Yeah.
sizes are specific and they probably are much
Yeah.
larger than what some of the old in-town parks are. And we justify that simply because we have, in the ordinance, it's written that if you're legal non-conforming, you're allowed to exist, grandfather for lack of, for a popular use term, but you can't expand. You can't expand that use. You're not made to remove it, but you don't expand it. And so this would, to us, clearly be an expansion of those privileges and rights that a legal RV park would now have.
So one of the concerns that I have is, would RV park owners, whoever is owning the RV parks, decide, I think I'm gonna get some RVs and get rid of some of the residents that actually live here because I can do better renting short term. We've seen that happen in a city where a lot more goes to STR. Is that possible or is the concern there those where a lot of people live full-time, are those the non-conforming RV parks?
I mean, we just anecdotally, we could probably say, yeah, I think that some of the non-conforming parks have a disproportionate amount of full-time residents, but that's observational and anecdotal. I couldn't
But-
quantify it.
But they wouldn't, if they're non-conforming, they don't qualify to do an STR.
Well, that's what we would propose. We just think that's an expansion of something
To
that
protect residents.
that might be an unintended consequence of taking that position. It could be.
But to have STRs as RV, it's the owners of the RV park that are gonna own those, correct? They
Correct.
can't, somebody can't rent a lot and
Yeah.
say, I'm gonna rent my
Yeah.
RV.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's for
Right.
the-
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We're not allowing it to all of a sudden become something different than it, than it
Supposed to
already
be.
is. Yeah. And I think that's the differentiation. I think when people probably read this on the outside, they think, oh gosh, you're gonna let all the long-term RV parks now, people can just throw their RV on the weekend and put it on Airbnb, and that is not
That's
the
what this
case.
is. Yeah, yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Long-term RV parks are in a completely different tax bracket than we are.
Oh, sure.
We pay a lot of taxes, the more long-term, the less taxes you pay, so I don't think that they wanna
Right.
invest a lot of money in RVs and pay exorbitant high taxes
Mhm.
on top.
Sure.
Well, and the fact that we already have an RV park that's doing this, and to his point, it's, you know, if we allow this, then they have that option of the two that they own, to rent out.
And we don't have any problems on the SDR hotline with those three at Aloha Beach that you can recall.
I don't recall we've ever had a complaint on
And
those.
Chief, you don't recall
Yeah.
police having to go out to noisy RV park? Okay.
How did we figure out that we had 3 RVs registered as STRs?
When
Yeah.
they came in to register for it, when I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's interesting.
I mean, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
They're not an RV, they're a park model. And I think that was probably part of the,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, by definition, they're RVs, but
Yeah.
they were really
RV.
tiny homes. It was,
Yeah.
anyway.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, it's not real lucrative, so they wouldn't be making a lot of money. It seems to me like it'd be more of a convenience if they had guests that wanted another party to come in. And I feel like in all fairness, if one park has three's not a tremendous number to start with. I think in all fairness, we ought to have the minimum at 3, and I'm okay with the other percentages.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like, I think a person's gonna rent that space to somebody and pull their trailer out if they have an opportunity to rent it. I don't think it's gonna be a big thing. But, that's how I feel about it.
So if we applied a percentage of 10%, that would cover Aloha Beach 3 and would also cover or allow someone like Surfside to have at least 4, correct? 46.
Well, if you did
Oh,
a 10%,
36. No, Aloha Beach has 36, correct, Nicole?
Yeah.
Correct.
36. and
36.
3.
3, they have 3, they have 36. Surfside has 46, correct, Thomas? Did you leave? Ready?
He's right there. He just.
Oh, I
He's
can't
behind
see
it.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Larges are we?
I
Lot
would,
Pioneer,
Pioneer,
yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, I would guess Pioneer.
it's in the 400 range.
Yeah, it's hundreds.
Yeah.
You could cap it if you wanted, if we wanted to do that.
Cap that one.
Yeah.
We didn't wanna go overboard here.
The original suggestion says 8,
Yeah.
maximum number of 8.
How do you do that?
10%.
The smaller ones get 3.
10% with a maximum of 8.
Yeah.
Great ordinance.
No, we have to word it a little bit better.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Can we just change the the minimum number? I mean, I don't know. if
Anything
we
you
do that.
want.
I mean, you could change the minimum, but I would
3
think if you create a percentage, that might be fair up until, like you said, you get to a larger park and
And do
then.
you think only
Then
the
they-
conforming 2 acre?
I like I
There you
like
go.
that idea.
That's a good
conforming.
idea.
Mhm.
The non-conforming, only, yeah.
A conforming park. So if it's a park is considered conforming, they're allowed up to 10% until they get to a size of 100 spaces or more, in which there'll be a cap of 8. Is that what y'all want?
And Rick, would you agree that the most
10,
important
8?
conformance is the 2 acres, would be the 2 acre? Or would we look at every single
Could
aspect
say
of
10.
conformance?
The 100 would be 10.
I'd
and
say
then no more than
the
10.
2 acres and
Yes.
the
About that.
RV park
Do
size.
we have any
the lot
over
size.
2 acres that are non-conforming in
Just-
size?
I don't think we.
I don't
do.
think we do. Okay,
Keep it simple.
On the beach RV.
right. Okay.
Another question. So we understand one owner owns the whole park. We're seeing more and more parks where the owner buys their slip. Correct.
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's a, well, technically, they don't buy their slip fee simple. It's a condo association, so they're buying the
Yes,
right to
right.
use a specific area, but they're still not I don't think anyone in the city, so we have a RV park subdivision that technically no one's ever used because that's an actual fee simple product.
We thought we
And
had one, but
the 2 that we have are RV condos, which is kind of a hybrid, so there's
Would
only
they
been
be-
one of
would-
those lately.
Would they be allowed to rent?
Yeah, I think you're throwing them all in there together. We wouldn't distinguish between an RV park and an RV park
So
condo.
if I own my condo RV park,
You rent your slip.
I rent my slip, am I also allowed as owner to put and buy a unit and put it there and then rent it as an ACTR?
Is
That
a-
doesn't exist in the city, so
I don't think it currently does, right?
that doesn't exist in the city. So
Doesn't
you're
mean someone's
thinking
not
like,
trying it.
so you're thinking if someone, okay, let's say someone has a condo spot. Gulf Waters, for example,
Water.
right? There's 200 plus spots in there. Does every owner have the right to put an RV in their spot and short-term rent it?
Yes, I'm asking the question.
Well, technically, no, not at this point. So that could be a dilemma where Gulf Water says, well, who gets to be the lucky 8, right?
No.
could still, yeah, there'd still be, if you proceed with the cap, then there'd
Right.
still be a cap.
Cause it's not one owner like the other parts.
Are they conforming or non-conforming out there?
They're conforming.
That's my question, just.
Well, then why don't you,
They own their
well,
spots,
the,
yeah.
the simple solution would be that, it's granted to an RV park with a single ownership.
There you go.
Yeah.
And because the condo thing's too complicated, they'd all be fighting over who gets to be one of the 8 and,
Oh, yeah.
then what? The HOAs. It's up to the HOA to figure out. That's a mess there.
That would complicate
So
things a
you
lot.
could just say it's available
Single owner.
to single ownership.
Conforming 10%
Mhm.
max,
Max 8.
max 10 for parks of 100. Then it's maxed.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone gets 10%, but when you get to 100 or more spots, no more.
Yeah,
You're
it's
capped.
Yeah.
Single
It's simpler
ownership.
math.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
it is. That's good.
Who's gonna police this?
Yeah.
Lawrence, Rick,
Lawrence,
Nicole, short-term rentals.
Alex,
Yeah.
I think that I fully have, I think we're can handle doing 10% max, making sure.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be exceeding it, like.
I don't think we're gonna see a big,
you said,
like he
it's
said,
just-
it costs a lot to buy one,
and again,
insure it.
the nature would be one that I could see somebody would want to be really fixing this site up and building decks and things around there. I would also suggest that we write something in there that's just like any other RV. We want it movable and hauled out in advance of a hurricane, so it doesn't blow into some neighbor.
Well, I don't know the ones that.
I know, but we got to, I mean, I think we got to do a better job, but
Sorry.
you know, our other property owners that surround these RV parks deserve that, I think. So, yeah,
No park models, only.
whatever you guys,
Try
just
to-
give us the direction.
Well,
Like I said, I just get concerned, you know, again about making sure that they're able to be moved out, whether that happens or not. I mean, all we can do is, but once you start building things onto that, because it's going to stay there, then it makes it impossible for it to move.
Yeah.
But
Okay, it would have to meet code.
If you windstorm it. Windstorm.
yeah, but you can build decks that are right up against it, but not attached, and a lot of creativity that when it comes to these, especially when it's going to be planted there for a long term. But at the end of the day, it's still an RV, and our ordinance still requires that they be able to be, that they're roadworthy, something like that.
Right.
Thomas, in your business model, you said something like you would like the opportunity to have up to 4 spots, but that you likely would not have RVs there all the time. That, for instance, if your park rented out, space wise, you would leave your RVs in storage.
Right, we're usually during the summer, we're full. We can't create.
Okay,
Winter, we're full. Winter Texas, we don't have any empty sites. It's just on the down times when somebody wants, hey, my family's going down, they don't have an RV, they don't want to stay in a hotel all the way, bring it in, give them the option to stay in it.
Okay.
Possible. So probably won't have it very often, but we would like the option.
it's a little bit different business model.
Right,
That's
right.
fine.
Yeah, but is everybody gonna think that way?
Yeah.
I mean.
No, that's why we have to put things
Well,
in place.
if it's able to be short-term rented for one day, I would also think that we would insist that it be registered, like it's registered for the year,
Yeah.
you know,
I
so
think you
it's
would have
whether it's used one day or 10 months,
Right,
it's going to be
right.
registered as an STR, and of course, it'll only be subject to hotel tax when it's occupied,
Sure.
but yeah, we recommend they be registered.
Should we also make sure within the ordinance that those spots that they are legally allowed to do are identified and remain the same? So that they can't just bebop all around the park? Or,
I don't think we care about that.
because if you're identifying them as a short-term rental, then I-
Just like every.
Yeah, they'll have,
Sign on them.
I have to enforce where I park.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
just asking what's best for.
but I mean, yeah, I think we treat them, we'll have to look through, but I think there's no reason they can't be treated like any other short-term rental, which means a sign and everything else, and that's gonna identify it.
Okay.
And it's gotta be posted.
And the same sleeping.
Two per sleeping room?
I'm just
No,
asking
I'm-
the question.
I got
The
you.
kitchen is not a sleeping room.
It's
Correct?
an RV and it parking is fine.
So there's always one
How many
sleeping
people
room
can you
plus,
put in
so maximum
That's
four,
what I-
four,
So
six.
I don't think that you-
You guys gotta figure those things out.
Well, there's
I
two,
think
there's,
it's self-correct.
Parking.
yeah, I mean, I don't see why the occupancy wouldn't remain the same, because let's say an RV has 2 sleeping rooms. That'd be 4 plus 4, that's 8.
Well,
That's pushing it.
One
Thomas?
of them is the dining room.
Well, they're
Okay.
usually classified, they say how much how many people they'll sleep when you buy it.
Yeah.
We have one that says they'll sleep 10, but you get more than 4 people in there and you're crowded. I don't know how it sleeps 10, but they say it will.
On the floor.
I think that'll
Table
regulate
pulls
itself.
down, get two folks.
Yeah.
Dining room tables.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
It's over.
The dining table.
Okay, so you'll add that verbiage maybe to the proposed ordinance.
All that stuff.
Sure, we'll
Do staff have enough direction that
Sure,
they can
Rick,
come up with
Rick,
something?
work all weekend.
Rick,
All right,
okay,
we're gonna make you work hard. your
so
last week,
directed,
Rick.
so directed.
so directed.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, item M, resolution approving professional services task order agreement with Janak Architects, approving amendment number 2 and task order number 3, public facility space, design and construction of the gas department offices in the total amount of $153,970. Authorizing the future budget amendment for the fiscal year 23-24 budget and setting terms, conditions, fees, responsibilities, and services of owner and architect, authorizing city manager to sign said agreement. Hello, Mr. Doris.
Hi, everyone. So this is for the gas warehouse that'll sit on the same site as public safety. Raymond has been coordinating the efforts with Victory to do the change order and get all the cost reasonableness. This started at about almost 180,000. And to Raymond's credit, we worked, David gave some feedback and we chipped some things out of this and narrow it down. So it's 139,000 in fees for the design, 3 phases. And then it's 15,000 approximately in supplemental stuff, survey, landscaping, stormwater, those kind of things. So I do believe this is more than reasonable. If we ran it against the FEMA curve, we're at 10.7 on a $1.3 million job. So we're where we need to be.
Darla, where's our budget? 1.5? Yeah. Yeah, 1.5.
1.5 is what we were
It's
told.
5.
So this
It's 1.5.
working towards where we're looking Victory to come in and what we have in the
Yeah.
design concept and stuff, we should stay 1.5 was the budget for the gas system. And that's
Gas
why we're
building, yeah.
narrowing everything, that gas
Yeah.
building. So that's why we got everything trimmed up.
Okay. Anybody have any questions regarding this resolution? Right. Can I entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Go ahead. Go
Go ahead.
Service.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilman Witten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item N, resolution approving professional services agreement amendment 1 to the 2023 disaster recovery consulting services contract with Broadus and Associates, approving proposed scope of services amendments, setting terms, conditions, fees, and effective date, and authorizing city manager to negotiate the contract agreement and sign all contract documents.
I have nothing but positive things to say about this agenda item. I will give you some just some of the things within it. It's a 12-month extension. We came to y'all last year with the new terms. We expire at the end of this month, so it'll start May 1st of this year and carry into April 30th of next year. We're proposing the fee 3.6. We did propose and request a 3% annual increase, but as we have in every year we've been here, I'll give you 2023's budget real quick for you to. We asked, proposed about 3.1. As you know, FEMA moves at their own pace. Through February, we were at 1.4 of that and those 2 extra months. So we spent half of the budget that we had and we shifted this budget and have over the years as the projects progress. So same consideration here, and I hope you'll give us another 12 months to keep having fun.
And they're slowly working themselves out of a job.
Tell you that in a minute.
One condition. Terry's got to go.
Oh.
Just kidding, just kidding. I know, I woke him up. He was like, what? What? Just kidding. We wouldn't know what to do without you. Okay.
We're gonna approve the probable effects item O.
I bet it does too, right?
No, not for this one. We got to the end of the month.
Yeah, a couple more days. All right, well, I personally think you guys have done an outstanding job and we wouldn't know what to do with all of you.
Right.
So thank you very, very much. And I know, like you always say, you're not leaving till it's done. So
We're getting close,
getting close.
making progress and going vertical quickly. So
Good.
we're getting there.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all.
All right, item O, presentation from Broadus Associates Hurricane Harvey Recovery.
Yeah, so I'm gonna even give a few additional updates since we produced the report to Fran, just to kind of keep the current events rolling. Public safety is progressing. Right now, we have no approved change orders to present to you at this time. We billed just under $4 million to date. As you just approved a couple steps ago, we're working on the warehouse and the site that will affiliate on this same site. And no extension for time has been presented yet. Little whispers, but nothing serious to worry about.
It's moving good. If anyone wants a tour, let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Victory doing a good job, and now they have some incentive to push along further, right? Their subs have somewhere to go, and they do too. So
Mhm.
it's a good recipe and it's working. Fire station, I actually spoke with Gaffney this morning on this because we read some appeals and met with FEMA on Wednesday, and some of this stuff was just heard March 6th. So we reached out to the attorney. I've not heard back from Charles or Mike on it, but just to kind of see, hey, what's going on and where are we? We did not want to be pushy and don't want to, but seeing some of these later dates and some results, we figured we had an opportunity, a window to ask. So we did. And that went out from Mike today. The good news is some of the ones came out first of the year, maybe they came out so fast because they were negative, but they seem to be leaning in the direction of where they typically do. So a lot of positive ones in the last little batch. So we'll keep you posted as soon as we know, but we are pushing in the way we can without causing a fuss. Charlie's Pasture Bulkhead out there today. They had some small crews doing some caulking, working on the handrail on the channel side, but it's coming along. Nothing to be concerned about there. Moving on to the Nature Preserve and Boardwalk. So we did go ahead and award that, as y'all know, to Shirley and Sons. We had a kickoff meeting scheduled for the 18th. We pushed that to the 22nd. That'll be next Monday at 10 a.m. However, we did still stay true to the notice to proceed. So that started on the 18th. So there was some scheduling conflicts. We worked through it, got it ironed out. We will have the full-time environmental monitor and observations going on there. And I had a great conversation with Colleen today and made sure on the whole coordination with the Whooping Crane and when they've come the last few years and everything, so we can be proactive. So we'll kick that one off soon. Gas distribution system, it's plugging along. It's rocking and rolling. If you remember, I stood up here last month saying we had met with the contractor and resolved some of the payment issues. We sent all our emails and everything. We have not received the pay app from Equix, but it is fully in their court. So they know that. We have correspondence to reflect that. So should get some big pay apps soon, but everything's progressing and they're moving along. Harbor Master, it gets
looks
prettier
good.
every time. They had
I
quite a
think
bit
about
of
it.
landscaping work going on today. Asphalt was rocking and rolling. The fire marshal scheduled for Tuesday to come out, and so far so good. It looks all good for the big plan. So working on loose ends. Punch list is kind of punched out, and then the blue lights on top last night looked fantastic. So congratulations on
They
that
they
project.
make
That
all
is-
kinds of colors.
that is,
They're really pretty.
that's a gem. And I know we are encouraging EDA to attend our ribbon cutting, and they've
Oh,
committed to
good.
do so.
Good.
So we'll keep you posted on that. Public Works Garage updates, a little different than the one in your report. We have been working with Turner Ramirez to iron out the fees and schedules, kind of like we did with Janak. We've pretty much narrowed that and got that tightened up where we need it. And so we'll start presenting some design schedules. They've been working on the elevation to 11 feet, site conditions. I know Jim and that group's out there doing their work, so it's progressing. Projects completed to date, 29 projects, 19 ongoing. I did get great news from Merlin, our FEMA representative today, to some of the projects. We had some insurance snags in front of, were cleared, 3 of them to be exact. So that'll flow some money and open up some holds on the state side. So all great news, progressing and moving along.
Hey. Yeah. All right.
Questions?
Any questions?
All right.
Keep up the
thanks.
good
See y'all
work.
soon.
Thank
y'all for
Thank
the
you.
12 months.
All right, item P, resolution designating Lawrence Cotrone as the signator, replacing Rick Adams to the city's depository American Bank N.A., and directing the city secretary to forward a certified copy of the resolution to the finance director for submittal to the above named depository institution.
Well, with Rick's impending departure, we need to get somebody else in City Hall that can sign some checks, and it doesn't need to be anybody in finance, so tag Lawrence is it.
Does anybody have any questions in that regard? All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, item Q, a resolution authorizing the police department to expend funds in the total amount of $117,770.43 for the purchase of the new mobile computers, funding from the General Fund 050 Police Department Capital Outlay Account 59350, and authorizing the city manager to act as the executive officer and authorized representative of the city in all matters pertaining to said purchase.
This is a budgeted item. We just need to seek approval due to the amount. And y'all have been hearing about all these cost overruns all day. We're only $117 over budget, so.
Oh, not too bad. Only.
All right, any questions for Chief? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Great. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, item R, discuss and take possible action to amend the Port Aransas Code of Ordinances to establish rules and regulations for parking on sidewalks.
I know it's state law, but you had asked Chief one time about it, and it just seems like there's more and more people parking on the sidewalks.
Okay, so what's the recommendation to
See, what was
codify
the-
or?
What was the response, and maybe Rick and Nicole, what can code enforcement do with the parking on the sidewalk issue? Can they ticket? Or no?
Not without an ordinance, right?
They can't do state law, right?
In our code of ordinance. And it's still the code of ordinances, they for sure can enforce it. And
All right. But not as it
I'm
is
not sure, isn't there
now.
already a provision in the code though that codifies all the traffic violations?
I'll have to look, I think by reference, we do adopt all those regulations, we'll have to look at that language. We may have that, which would basically only come up with Dr. Court.
Should be the same
Yeah,
effect.
it's cleaner if it's in,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it may be redundant, but recommendation would be to approve it, and if it doesn't need approval, then we can just keep going with what we are, and if it does need approval, then we've got the approval to do it.
Okay, so basically, it could already be in our city code. of
where would it be,
ordinances.
Rick? Under street sidewalks and other public ways?
Standing stop.
Oh, right, I looked this up.
25.
What I look at.
Been to, I think that one it started, but I don't think it's in there.
I don't think it's in there either.
Who put this picture up here? Tanya?
I brought that picture. I did.
Okay,
That's in Channel Vista.
yes, I can tell.
There was
It'd be heck at nighttime if you ran
Oh,
into it.
well, there's a lady that lives there that this is her husband in the wheelchair, and she's like, I don't mean to complain too much, but when they're going along, it's
All right.
and this is not the best example. There was another one of a truck sticking
Yeah.
out. Anyway, his problem, the reason she was upset this day is because when he went around this Jeep that was parked there, he didn't see a car come in, the car
Oh.
didn't see him.
Right, it puts,
He went out and it almost
absolutely.
hit him. So
yeah.
she came in very frazzled and brought this, and so Joellen had already put it on the agenda, so I was like, all right, I have a picture.
Yeah, that's the dilemma.
So
there.
that's just, yeah, and that, yeah,
You
that
have,
was just an example of.
you're forcing kids out into the street.
And it just
At the end of
seems
the
like
day.
there's always either cars in them, over them, or the trash cans are in them, or something's in the sidewalk.
There's a lot of them on, you know.
We'll do a check and see, we'll look at what we have, and if not, we
Put
want to do
something
it.
in place.
One of our code enforcement officers can do it.
Yeah.
With them type of control laws.
Yeah.
Right,
Have to go.
exactly.
Right. Yeah, because we probably don't currently have enough manpower for them to
No,
release
that's
that.
gonna be low on their
Um,
to-do list, and they're chasing.
Right.
No, I understand that, but if there was something in place, then.
Right, that's why, I mean, if we can get it in place and make it work for a code enforcement officer,
Yeah,
it's just way better for everyone, so we'll look
Right.
at it. Bring something back.
Okay. Anything else on that?
No.
All right. Move on to item S, discuss and take action on appointing board member to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. There are 2 open spots.
And
We
one
have
applicant.
1 applicant. So this ought to be simple.
Yeah.
Amanda Arnold is the applicant. She is a resident of Port Aransas. Her qualifications include working in the tourism industry in Austin for 7 years, organizing tours and events for visitors and local groups from 2 to 1,000. Currently not on any other boards. Currently does not have a business or relationship with the city that would affect her. And she has experience in promotion, marketing, real estate development, has a BA in international business and marketing, and her areas of interest are tourism, nature, and events.
So seems like she fit all the criteria needed.
Do we have a motion to,
Make a motion to appoint Amanda Arnold.
I'll second.
all right, great. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitman,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item T, discuss and take possible action on amending the beach small events permit application and fees.
I guess this, I'm surprised to see it, but anyway, I think Kelly had asked to have it back on here to maybe look at the fees.
The fees is. I think the problem is these, food vending trucks that are down there that are, with all their graphics, it's hard to tell who has a permit and who's possibly just vending out of their vehicles. And so I don't know if the fee would help discourage some of that or find another way. Something. I mean, $50 pretty cheap.
Yeah, what did you say last time that was increased or adjusted, David?
Oh,
I don't remember being increased in time.
yeah, it's been 50 for,
50.
50.
And so at 50, what you said we collected in 2022 and 23, 22,000, so that'd be roughly 440.
But the broke it out was, but it's still in between. Yeah, 22,049.
$22,000, special events, majority related to the beach. At $50, let's just say an average, I'm sure there's more, that's a lot of special events. So would you say the majority of them are people who are paying a fee to rent a tent and put it on the beach, or have the rolling tide, boiling pot type of vendor?
More weddings.
It's more weddings,
Actually
like,
just weddings?
I usually get 2 to 3 on my desk every day.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are just weddings, no tent.
No, I just want to get married at the beach. Here's my
Yeah.
$50.
Yep.
And they can set up whatever they want.
Well, no, they
I mean,
tell
what's
us,
the
yeah,
reason?
yeah,
I mean-
they tell us what they're setting
Okay.
up, and and I review every one of them.
So is the intent, and I'm asking because I don't, to discourage that? You want to increase the fee to discourage that, or you have concerns about other people who are maybe doing something that they're not getting a permit, or maybe someone who's getting a permit that's different than a wedding or.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one idea was to have, if you have a small event permit and you have a tent or whatever, and you have a caterer, then the caterer's got to be under the tent, not just in a food truck sitting up at the bollards selling tacos.
Right. Or dropping off whatever they have and.
Or they drop off their food and it's,
A lot of. them
again,
cook
it's
it in
under,
there.
it's,
Cater, right? Both.
I don't, not really. I went to a wedding. I've been to a lot of them on the beach and those trucks are there
too.
cooking. And they serve it under the tent, but they're cooking it
They're
or
cooking
that's,
it.
or they're putting, or they've cooked it somewhere else and it's in that big truck. Yeah, I've been to a lot of anniversary parties and weddings down there and that's what.
And we don't
Those
want to, y'all
I
don't
have
want to
a
do that?
problem
or-
with that. I mean, if they're
That's
selling
fine.
out of there, that's one thing, but most of them are just that wedding group has hired
I don't
them.
think we want to
but if we,
discourage
I mean,
weddings.
if it's a weekend and there's someone down there illegal vending, you will see emails bouncing back from Rick, Nicole, me, Carla, the police. And even though I'm sitting at home on a Saturday watching the football game, I'll get a text, hey, Granny's Tacos down at Market River. So, I mean, we actively watch for vending. I mean, it's usually we catch wind of it. Or it's, it's very rarely,
Police will give us a call saying, hey, is this all right?
yeah.
There's a lot of eyes on that beach.
I got a lot of calls last summer.
It is a rare occasion for a food vending truck to set up shop on the beach and get away with it.
No, they'll just be driving up and down and stop every now and then.
We,
And I get pictures too. I mean, the same thing. People are going, what is this?
yeah.
What is this?
Well, I know a
What is
couple of
this?"
years ago, Granny's Tamales got shut down because they were.
Yeah, I mean, literally just, you've been dealing with one right now.
Yeah,
Food truck just set up down.
This is,
down the road.
yeah, let me just show you this text right here. Here it is. During our meeting, I'm getting food truck violations. So everyone is watching. So we watch it pretty dadgum close. And I got 6 emails about a food truck just in the last 23 minutes.
I asked you to send somebody down there.
Yeah,
Is it
so-
a Benfish truck? I'm sure it is.
Yeah, and he's already gone. Chief, while you guys were sitting here, the 4 of us,
Fixed it.
Fixed.
Going on around.
yeah,
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I say.
4
I
of
just
us in
figure
this
I'm
room
gonna
right here, while you guys didn't know it, we're dealing with an illegal food truck and busted him and he's gone.
Well, good
So
job.
that goes on all the time. We're all, hey, Dave, so-and-so's on the beach. What are you gonna do? I'm like, dadgummit, Rick, Carla. I'm watching a game.
Well, I'm actually gonna cook
Yeah,
shrimp for 300
so-
people for EMS, so, but we're gonna cook it and drive it down to the beach and.
Drop it
You
out.
apply
all
for
we're
your
doing.
permit?
Yeah.
He's got a permit. I don't.
How would you feel if
I
we
mean-
increased the fee, sir?
Well, I'm a little different.
I mean, do we increase the fee?
I don't know. That's right. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's what
mean-
the agenda item says.
I mean,
so
I
that's what
know,
I'm
but
asking.
what I'm saying is like,
And we do the small.
they're gonna pay $75 or $100 for it.
And so, I mean, we'll set up a tent for 3 days because it's the weekend.
Right.
I mean, it's still $150. I think there's even like a deposit you have to put down on.
Yeah.
top of that.
$200 deposit.
So I mean, it's a lot of money. And all we're doing is just a tent. I mean, I think it's fair for a tent if you're just going down there and set a tent. You're already paying for a tent and everything else, but maybe scale it. If there's food trucks that are at your event, then you pay an additional amount. Or if there's your band, pay it,
Right.
pay a permit for each one, all in one permit, but
We don't want any food trucks down there.
if you don't want them down there, just say there's none. Can't help it.
It's a lot easier if they do it like Tanya explained.
Right.
They cook it and they bring it in, they get all their trucks, get it right to the bollards and haul it to the tent and table. It's like Kelly said, it's when they're there with their all wrapped trailers and.
It makes it easier for
It
you
makes habits
guys.
because if
Yeah.
people call, say, I want a food truck.
Yeah, right.
The actual special event permit application is has a lot of detail where you are supposed to put, if you're having generators, if you're having canopies and tents, how many? Are you having bouncy houses? Are you having, all those things? So we could increase the fee to say, if you're just gonna have a tent popped up, or you just want to get married at the beach and no tents, and maybe you're gonna put your little arch up and some chairs or whatever, maybe that's a set fee, but if you're gonna have a full-on catered event, whether they drop it off or not, maybe that is a $200 fee.
But it's still. So what? They're paying an extra $100 and we're back to food trucks on the beach.
Well, I think,
So,
Dropping it off, she said, dropping them off.
Well, I don't have a food truck, so.
right,
I
I
don't
mean,
have a
just,
choice.
I mean, to me, just
Right.
increasing the
I don't
permit
have a truck,
fee
So it's gonna be a bunch.
isn't gonna do anything about keeping a food truck off the beach if my
Right.
grandfather comes down for our family reunion and I don't even know how often that's even happening, but.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys,
do we need to codify something else to increase enforcement? Get code enforcement down there only looking for food truck. I, that's right. But right, coming and going, I know.
Kelly, you have any thought?
No.
Okay.
But it's the vending that you don't want.
right,
Just.
Which I totally
Yeah.
agree, which is
But-
not
but-
allowed.
But you don't get a permit to be
No.
vending on the beach.
It's not allowed.
It's already,
illegal.
During.
I don't know, do
sales.
we run them off? Do we take?
Yeah,
them?
we take it on,
Oh, yeah.
we, just like I just explained,
They
it
got run off and got a ticket.
is
So somebody not a part of Samfest was down there. doing
no, we had someone at a restaurant, someone just set up at a bar, started serving food in the
Oh.
last hour and a half.
Nice.
Oh, wasn't even.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, word gets out. We're all,
Right.
the city team is networked pretty dadgum good. When we see stuff like that, we're all blowing each other's phones up.
Well, that's pretty cool that we saw it with our own two eyes.
Just like the other day, there was one in front of the golf cart selling wicked something.
Oh, yeah.
t-shirts.
I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Carla, Rick,
That's twice
who's
they-
this dude? Oh, they sell the same thing inside. They're allowed to sell, so. So, I mean, we're networked to where we're all trained to see it. We don't just drive a blind eye.
It's funny because they were there before. I guess he came back and tried again.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
any other suggestions or changes, or do you want to?
So if it's a wedding, you got 5 people coming, you're gonna set up an arch, you pay $50.
Yeah.
With the $200 deposit.
Special.
$200 deposit. You got 5 people total there, but it's a special event because it's a wedding. If you show up, you bring a generator, if you start bringing a band, or you bring 100 and something people, it's still that fee.
Is that a special
So,
event then?
no, but in that application, should there be fees if you're gonna have a band? I mean, I don't know, I'm asking with what you brought up, Mayor, is does it need to be something that goes along with it so that we don't have for $50 have these big things going on, which I don't know if they're a problem.
Does that turn to event permit when you got a band and everything?
I think the biggest advantage of having an event permit is it just gives us notice that it's going on.
Yeah,
That's what the
It's really not
$50,
much of
okay.
a cost to the city other than maybe some cleanup afterwards.
right.
So you're
That's part of the
deciding to try to
$200.
maybe drive some cleanup costs afterwards.
Gotcha.
Basically lets us know what's going on. If you get too high, then people are just gonna not do it.
Which is very clear in this event permit that if you do get to a certain size, then the PD has different rules.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Or if there's alcohol.
Yes.
So where's it going?
Or are we just looking for more enforcement? Or just awareness? So that we don't see as much of it.
I think the main thing that everybody's kind of on agreement with is just not, those trucks not selling to the general
That
public.
they shouldn't be.
They're just for that.
No vending
event.
on the beach.
You
Yeah,
text
yeah.
Dave.
Right.
Do we text Dave or
If you
to
go up to this truck
do
and
we
they
go
sell
to-
you a taco,
do we
then
go to-
call it in.
Lawrence? Who do we go to with our text?
For
Or do you
what?
go For illegal vending or a question mark? Do
Can you
you
call
wanna
the
know about
hotline?
it? You go to the hotline, you call non-emergency police and they know whether it's
Give some, the
going on.
SDR hotline some
It
action.
depends on your philosophy as a council member.
Okay.
When you see a speeder, do you feel the need to contact me?
No. Call the police.
Yeah, well, no, not. You don't call them either. I mean,
Or you just let them go? Depends if they're going into town or out of town. Okay.
it's like when I see a speeder, I'm like, gosh, wouldn't it have been great if a cop would have seen that?
Yeah.
But do I call chief and go, I just saw a speeder? No, I don't do
I
that.
want to.
All right.
It's, I let,
Well, you can bet that phone's gonna blow.
Oh, it
Okay.
does.
Oh, yeah.
I pray that code enforcement is doing their job as best they can.
Okay.
Trust it, when you see it within minutes, it'll be dealt with.
If you feel the urge to need to reach out about a vendor,
Just call
Okay.
you can text me, but it doesn't mean
You're doing it.
it's Saturday at 3 PM and I'm calling the police and I'm rallying all the troops to go down and bust the person, because that's like calling me for a speeder.
Okay.
You know, I'm not racing out to the highway to catch the guy.
Okay.
It's, you know, we try to do our best to catch everyone. And, you know, and if it's during the working hours, it's great. If it's, you know, Saturday at 7 PM, that's kind of a difficult lift for me to promise you I'm gonna go down there and deal with a food truck. Best thing is take a picture and, you know, send it to me. Hey, maybe you get this guy next time. I know, you know, whatever, but it's, you know, can't promise you that at 7 o'clock during football season on a Saturday night when A&M's playing UT in November, that I'm gonna race out of that.
Well, maybe with, because I know that we all catch all the time, a lot of code violations, right? And we all want to see the city cleaner, better, faster, safer, all those things. So maybe we can somehow, so that we're not all texting David or Chief or Rick or Daniel or Lawrence, maybe there is an appropriate means for us to share that information. Maybe it is the STR hotline. Maybe we rename it to some other hotline, or maybe there's a special place that we can immediately send that information that someone does monitor so that it's not.
Our dispatchers triage pretty well. Just call. the
Just
people.
call, okay, well, apparently you can call the PD, but I mean,
They will get the appropriate priority.
I know, I'm not saying STR, I'm just saying maybe there's, so that, you know, you're not bombarding. Because I know there are things like, just like this picture that Tanya took, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I get it, right? That could have been a really bad situation, so. Yeah. But thank you for the work that y'all do to fix those things the majority of the time.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing with a food truck, take a picture of him. You know, get with me at your leisure. Hey, this guy was down there. Could you check and see if he was part of a small events permit? And then we can run the traps on it. And if he wasn't, and we have a good picture of him vending, we contact him and say, hey, notice you were vending on the beach Saturday. Just fair warning, it's against city, you know, and that's really the best way to deal with
Right.
it is to, you know, just get a good picture of them, get with me when you can. And then we circle back, you know, when we get back in the office Monday, we'll check our small events, see if they were part of a permit. If not, we reach out to them, contact them, track them down.
The police have contacted them on.
Yeah.
Plenty of times without anything.
Yeah.
Because they know.
Facebook will be our friend too, because they both know, go down there, because there's a.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
They rat each other, they rat themselves out.
All the time.
That's true.
That's worse.
Okay, any further discussion on this item? All right, we are gonna move on. Item 9, city manager report.
Daniel and I have been working back and forth. We think we have all the exhibits and language to both of our liking, so I think we're very close to getting everything signed. Yep,
Oh,
we
the
traded,
second
we
one?
traded a couple edits yesterday, and I think it's just about there.
Very good.
Yeah.
So,
Which means I'll immediately, once I get them, once I get signatures, I won't come back to P and Z, because I'll immediately start with the dune permitting,
Right.
get the dune permit rolling. That'll be my next step.
and then while the dune permit is rolling, maybe can we work with our engineers? I know we have
Yeah,
been.
yeah, so.
Let's just
like-
start working up some pricing. so
Yes,
that maybe
well,
we can-
so we'll work with our engineer. He'll start the dune permitting immediately. He'll get construction docs far enough along to where we'll have a really good number for you guys in June on exactly what we're gonna need or exactly what the shortfall is gonna be.
For what's
'Cause we
already in the
have
budget, yeah.
the
We have the.
800 something.
65.
Yeah, so we'll have that and they'll, it's gonna be short. So we'll have a good number for you guys in June to go out to bid with in,
Perfect.
August-ish, September.
To put in the goals workshop.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
to, or to make a change order or
Yep.
whatever we need to do. Okay. All right. Any other questions regarding Beach Access Road B for David? Any other?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Item 10, staff reports. You're up, Ms. Darlow.
Have the report in your packet, but I can go over a few of the economic indicators, which are always the fun ones to hear about. Hot tax is still not rebounding. We're down 10% for the month, which puts us down at almost 19% for the year. But sales tax was good this month. It was up about 26% compared to last year. So we're up 1% compared to last year. I did look to see if there were any big audit payments, which sometimes happens with the state, because that money goes to the state, comes to us, or something that was paid from wrong periods, and there wasn't. It looks like it was pretty much for that month, so that's good news. Harbor was down 38% for the month, but that sounds horrible, but we're up 16% for the year for quarterly. Daily for the same period was down 3%, but we're up almost 9% for the year. Golf carts are running pretty well steady compared to last year. We've done 4,070 through March, and last year we'd done 4,175. So pretty even. We were really busy today. We expect to be really busy tomorrow with golf carts. The girls were like, I'm like, yeah, welcome to. Both of them are new at front they weren't here last summer
Mhm.
at front. So they're both like, wow. Yeah, it's golf cart time. So Samfest brings a lot of golf cart people in. So, but if you have any questions about anything else in the report, I'd be happy to answer.
Did a really terrible impersonation of you last.
Yeah, terrible in terms reading my email
Reports, reading your reports.
Oh, he
did
did
your
your report for
reports.
you last month.
Oh, last.
Yes.
month. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Terrible.
I missed it. I did watch a little bit on YouTube, but I didn't watch the department
Yeah.
reports.
He did
I
a
missed
great
it.
job.
Glad you're back.
Yeah.
He had the numbers down pat.
Me
That's all that
too.
mattered, right?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Darlow? All right. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Glad you're back.
All right. Citywide capital improvement projects. Mr. Lawrence, you're up.
That's a nice looking shirt, Lawrence.
Thank you. It was Rick's, but I told him I wear it better.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah. I was saying since Rick gave it to me, I'm surprised it doesn't have a little, spaghetti noodles hanging off right there, the emergency management decorations.
Emergency Management General.
Yeah. All right. Well, if we have any questions or want to talk about anything, just let me know and I'll slow down and we'll go through them. For the beach lifeguard new facility, it's being designed currently with the architect. It anticipated to be put out for a bid once we get about 6 to 8 months down the road with the fire EMS building, which is going on currently.
Yeah, they're gonna be so spread out for a while that it doesn't make sense to try to start it right now. They'd just be in the way of each other, so.
Yeah. Charlie's Pasture Shoreline Bulkhead, that's at 88% complete. All the concrete work is done. They're doing fill work right now. Then bollards and hydro mulch will take place next. Should start the bollards next week. Community Center Neighborhood Park,
And signs, you're getting signs.
And we are doing
That's right.
signs. We're figuring out how to best attach them to the wall.
Okay.
Cause we don't want. How many did we think we were gonna have? We're gonna
30?
do them every 200 feet or
150?
hundred and
You
fifty.
don't want them sticking up. That's just.
Yeah,
one
we
more
don't
thing
stick
for
enough.
the
They'll just
birds
rust into
to
case.
get
So we're
on.
trying to, the wall has a finish
Mhm.
on it. So we're gonna have to scrape off the finish and yeah, we'll get it. We have it designed
That's right.
in Spanish and in English.
Plans are finalized for the community center neighborhood park. Went through that tonight. Fire EMS station, notice to proceed was issued. Ground exploration is going on right now. They did discover that there is some broken up chunks of concrete in there with rebore, so they're exploring how much of it and costs and things of that nature is unforeseen.
It's where for you old timers, there was an old water station there, or old water tank there, water tower, that had big concrete footers. And it's, possibly in the way of our foundation.
Correct. Gas distribution utility system, 50% complete. Harbor Master building a pavilion. Let's see here. We've got a temporary certificate of occupancy seeking full next week. Doing punch lists. Been over there a lot, checking up on things. A lot of it's paint touch-ups and caulking. But it's looking pretty good. They're still coming
Devil's in the
along.
details.
That is right. The inspector came out for the elevator, that passed. Fire marshal will be out next week. They're still doing flat work. They were working on an asphalt today. I think they should probably finish the asphalt tomorrow if they get asphalt. The plant was not putting out the amounts that they needed and they only got just a small batch.
And then tomorrow's gonna be traffic.
Yeah, we had that wedding. They should be cleaning up.
Yeah.
Those pavers look good out there.
Yeah.
All looks amazing.
Asphalt will cool off probably by the time it gets rid of the traffic. Hopefully not. Nature Preserve, North Trail. We did a pre-construction meeting today. That went well, but we're gonna do another one. Coming up with Charlie and Sons. The contractor couldn't make it, but we still met and went over everything with engineers and our teams. Public safety building, ADA ramp poured, electrical, HVAC ongoing. CMU block is ongoing, still erection, interior layout. They're framing and they're putting up sheathing. It's going along well. Public Works building. That is still in review. And once we start the fire station, we're gonna wait for that to get about 8 months into it before we start looking at putting that out to bid for Public Works. Recreation Center, preliminary design and programming. Be on the lookout for the survey. I don't know if y'all saw that, but the Parks Department put out a survey trying to figure out what they want to put in there, programming. I think y'all should all put martial arts.
Marshall.
Yes.
Okay. It comes in.
Yeah. Streets and drainage bond. I mentioned all the streets that were finished, still the same streets, and they're working on Eskridge and Pulling. They're doing some grading over there currently. And they're also on Ross.
Yep, Ross is kicked off.
Yeah. Just approved a major piece of that tonight, and that should continue the work over there. Any questions?
That schedule y'all have on there, is it still pretty accurate?
It probably needs to be updated. Yeah, I haven't
Have
gotten
you looked at it very frequently?
for the streets, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I will make a note here to ask for an updated schedule and then get that put up. Yes, sir. That's a good point. Thank you.
And I'll give I'll jump in on a couple of those that I've been doing. So wayfinding has kicked off. They've been doing a lot of their mock-ups and getting their, their mock-up approvals of their material and, what everything's gonna look like, what the material is. So that's underway. The downtown streetscape design, I just got some of their preliminary work. It looks fantastic. So I can't wait to get that to you guys, but it is coming along, and included is in that. Remember, you guys added the park, the coastal park from Charlie's Pasture Pier to the Nature Preserve entrance. I just got the first preliminary sketches of that. It looks really cool. And then they're also doing the lighting, the citywide lighting schematic. So that's all progressing nicely.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Lawrence? No? All right, thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Lawrence.
Lawrence. All right. Mr. Johnson, no, Rick, sorry, I don't want to cheat you.
Never have.
You know why? Because
There's never a sheet.
there's never a sheet. Didn't mean to skip you.
Okay, all right. Short-term rentals, 2840 as of today, registered. So, again, slowly creeping up to that 3,000 mark, which I suspect, will hit. Building permits, again, same thing year over year. Nicole, what's in review? 25, 30, maybe? Yeah, let's say that. So again, because of our lack of a building official, we're sending the plans out. So, but just actual permits issued, not counting the ones that are in review right now, year over year, 72 for 23, 42 right now, for 24. Again, some are in review that might have already been issued, but even then, at best, we're probably par with last year, which was a down year from the previous year. I just a couple quick statistics. I thought out of the 42 that we've issued, they average 4-bedroom homes with 4.6 baths. So that's the size, and 3,016, a little over 3,000 square feet average in the permits issued. And the houses range in size from 11,918 square feet to 718. So I just I pulled that out of the report. So-
Probably one of those and one that's 718 and then a whole lot in the middle, huh?
Yeah.
That's,
and then a whole lot in the middle. But again, four bedrooms and a little over 4.5 baths on average. That's it. Any questions? Great, thanks.
any questions for Rick? No? Okay, all right. Now it's Mr. Johnson's turn.
Okay. Well, we had 152 calls in March, which was up from last year, which was 130. So transports, the percentage went down just a little bit, but it's spring break. So I mean, we're doing a lot of Band-Aids for cuts, stepping on glass bottles, little stuff like that. So it's not as much as your normal clientele where they need to go to the hospital. A lot of treat and release. But that being said, we're still up on percentage for transports for the year and year over year. So, which is a good thing because that increases our revenue. I know we're not revenuers, but at the same time, when we transport, we get more money. So it's a good thing. So here, average response time, 4 minutes, 2 seconds, which is, it consistently keeps dropping, which is good. We're getting them out of the office quick and to the scene fast. Let's see here. Going down the summary, the big thing is Jarvis went and tested for his national registry. He's been in paramedic school for a little over a year, and he went and you got to test on the national level, and then so you're nationally certified. So he got that, and he is officially a
Oh, cool.
paramedic. So that's a really good deal. Super proud of him.
So that brings you up to how many
It's a lot of work.
total?
So we have 7 medics on staff,
Uh-huh.
and we have 2 intermediates and 1 basic.
Oh, good.
And then one of my basic is actually in school right now. I started in January for his, so he'll about another year or so he'll get to test. And that's Josh.
Yeah.
And then Joe is in fire school right now, but he should be done by the end of May. And when he's done with that, he wants to go into paramedic school.
Good.
And even better, we got a grant for all that. So every one of their schools have been paid for
Oh, awesome.
and not a single cost to the city.
Even better.
That's pretty good. And then once again, groundbreaking ceremony for the new station was great. And then we've just been working on getting the EMS conference ready to go. You know, it's coming up in May 8th through the 10th. We had to close registration because we maxed out. Wow. And so that's a good thing. Over 300, and I think we've got about 320 people right now. So it's going to be a full house. We're going to have to redesign the way we do the Civic Center and get that going. But we got a lot of good feedback, and a lot of people are upset that we're closing registration. So that means next year's probably going to be a lot bigger.
Well, trying to make it bigger.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So that's that final number.
Your vehicles look
320.
awesome.
Well,
They
yeah,
do.
the vehicles are really turning out great. Of course, we got the older Tahoe, we sent it back.
Yeah.
and So we got it back. So both Tahoes and 2 ambulances are blue. We auctioned off the old white one. It's
Mhm.
gone. I think they picked it up yesterday. And so we're down to just the red one. And then I got an update. They told me we're on schedule for May of 25 to get that one replaced. You know, it's been on order for a couple of years. And but they called last week and said that they ramped up a whole nother production line. So it may be as early as March.
I really
In the
like
meantime,
blue.
you wouldn't replane it just to,
That's y'all's decision.
because you're not gonna keep it? I mean, because you only have 3, right? Okay. So you won't keep 4?
Most likely not.
Yeah, okay.
Not until once we grow big enough to run
Yeah,
three ambulances,
yeah.
then we'll have a spare, but it's gonna be a little while for that. Definitely until we get a new station, we can put them indoors.
Yeah, no, sure, I understand. All right, thank you, Daniel. All right, Chief Burrows.
We have our spring break report in front of you this month. And when we had the discussion going on the marina, I'll check back in there. We did write 3 citations for time violations, but there are several others that we get voluntary compliance because we're down there and we can tell people you hit your 20-minute mark and they'll get on the way. So there's an advantage to that also. Probably the big story was the homicide we had down on the beach. We do have a suspect identified. We have a warrant out with him. We're working with the state and federal agencies to try to get him tracked down. We still don't have him in custody though.
So 547 beach parking. Spring
Yeah,
break.
well, there's 1,100 cases filed to the court, and I think 800 of them are actually parking violations between the beach parking stickers and the parking in the non-designated areas.
You gotta see that right here.
So we've got a new parking enforcement officer, and she's really, I didn't think we could ever replace Alex, but
Didn't either.
she's definitely keeping up with him.
That's good.
Well, and I think, what's important to note is the operating golf carts on the highway decreased, from year to year. And I think it will probably continue to decrease as people pay attention and.
Yeah, we're hardly seeing any
No. Right, that's good.
right now, so.
That's good. Well, great job. Great job surviving spring break, even with the crazy stuff. I know y'all all have work to do this weekend too, so be an extra fun one.
And Chief, how many, I saw one of your new branded vehicles.
Ooh, yeah, that looks
Is that the
good.
first one?
Well, the new Tahoes has, and it really came out.
Yeah, I thought it looked real sharp. Yeah.
Much better than the rendering. The real life
It
looks
Much better
much
than the
better than the
rendering, Chief.
renderings.
Y'all did a great
Very
job.
nice.
Yeah.
So the branding is slowly taking over. The new buildings will have the new branding coming, the new harbor master office, it's got a big 6-foot diameter seal. That'll be new. So we're starting to see it more and more.
Yeah, we just got a
Yeah,
mock
Mark,
up of
sure.
one of the,
Yeah.
with the new patches also.
Gotta set the example here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Man, I didn't even know. I hope you didn't have a chance to say that everyone. Okay, thank you, Chief. All right, so item 11, city council comments and items for future consideration. I do think it's very appropriate that we should note that it is Rick Adams' last official meeting, correct, sir?
But he will be at the May 16th meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe.
Actually, my last day, I didn't do my math right.
He said, I went to council meeting right now.
Okay, so that's your last day?
Yeah, he'll be
Okay,
Bill
well,
at
then
the
you have to
meeting.
come because I was
He's
gonna
coming.
give you some accolades tonight, but now I'm not.
No.
Now we're gonna wait until May. Make sure you show up so we can all say thank you and,
Bitter end.
yeah.
And I am having surgery May 7th,
Okay.
full knee replacement. So I'll be a little loopy that week.
Chuck survived, hit the on his bike. He will. Okay, any other item consideration? No? Okay. We're adjourned. Best of luck, David.